Hello and welcome to episode 164 of Masters of the Forge, Plague Purge Deconstructed. My name is Adam. I'm here with Jason as usual. Hi, Jason.
Hey, Adam. Hey, everyone.
Okay, so I want to first apologize for my audio in the last episode. I had my levels pegged pretty high, and there was some clipping, and we got that sorted out. Mostly, it just was like not great.
Yeah.
But this week, or this episode, we're going to be talking the Plague Purge mission pack and kind of pulling the pieces apart and talking about how you can kind of use those pieces, or at least setting us up for using those pieces in future episodes. But first, let's get into some hobby progress. So I was looking at the notes from last time, and it's like my notes said I built the crew, or I had painted the crew and the sail, and that was it. Yeah. So I hadn't finished painting the Tantalus at that point. So I have finished painting the Tantalus. Mm-hmm. I used the makeup brushes to do some blending, which was really interesting.
Oh yeah, okay, I remember that.
Did I talk about that? So see, that's just it. I think I may have talked about finishing the Tantalus last time, but anyways, that's finished. What's up?
We've talked about the makeup brushes and how both you and I are very much in favor of using them. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, it's good. Like it worked really well. Now normally people talk about using them for like dry brushing, but I've been using them for blending, and it works pretty well. Like it's a smooth coat. It's a smooth layer. I mean, it's not as controllable as like a number 2 or a number 3 brush, but it's pretty nice. Like you can actually mask. I mean, to be honest, Jason, I think I'm using it for the kind of stuff that you would normally use an airbrush for, right? So
yeah, honestly, yeah, probably. I need to pick up some of those brushes to kind of see what I can do, see how close that is.
You can message Brandon and ask him where he got his from. Nice Christmas present for Wendy. I mean, me.
Yeah.
After I finished the Tantalus is great. I put it on like 120 millimeter round base. Mm-hmm. I know a lot of people put them on the oval base. I don't know how I feel about the oval base.
I would be concerned.
Kind of big.
Well, here's my concern. I would be afraid of it tipping over on the oval base, but on the circle base, I think it might be a little more stable.
Maybe. I don't know. I kind of prefer the oval bases for things like walkers and buggies and stuff. For flying things, I really don't think the oval base looks great. I don't know. It's just something about it aesthetically that I can't put my finger on. But yeah, I'm really happy with that. It's in my case.
Yeah, I can see that.
It'll probably never leave the case. And then I built all my def dreads, and wow, we haven't recorded in a while, have we? Because
no, we hadn't.
Yeah. So like I built all those def dreads. I had all the pieces laid out from the armigers, the def dreads, the Invictor warsuit, the Ghost Keel, the Dune Crawlers. I had like 3 of those.
Yeah.
I had them all laid out and all the pieces laid out, and I started just kind of putting legs together and getting those on bases, and then I kind of did torsos and kind of sorted out where they would go. I did already do kind of the creepy, cut and paste or cut and tape sketches using the instructions. Like I cut the pieces out of the instructions and taped them onto paper and kind of did a mock-ups of each one. But I still had a little bit of tweaking to do. And I magnetized several of them. so that I could,
okay.
if I really needed a specific one, then I could magnetize. And then there were others where I magnetized 2 close combat weapons. Or no, I glued on 2 close combat weapons and just magnetized the guns. Or the secondary close. Because for the most part, you're going to at least have 2 close combat weapons anyways. So a lot of those are glued on with an option for 2 other weapons on there. And there were some that are just glued. Like I have one that's just, I think I have 1 or 2 that's just kitted out with close combat weapons, 4 close combat weapons. And then I have one which is like a Big Mechs walker, like Big Mech style Def Dread, and that has 4 custom Mega Blasters on it.
Yeah.
Which is just idiotic. Like he can blow himself up in like a turn. Not a turn, but pretty close.
That's
pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I actually run hot shooting with him, I can blow up most things. The problem is I probably won't. So that's kind of a problem. It's fine. Then I have another one that's got 4 Scorches on it, which is also really cool. Because they're vehicles, I'm not too worried about getting locked up in close combat anymore. If someone wants to get locked up with 4 Scorches, be my guest. That sounds like a bad day for most people. Scorch's profile is basically a heavy flamer. So it's like D6 shots, AP -1. I'm going to paint flames on that one. I think that makes a lot of sense. That one I also glued on a lot of like fuel tanks and hoses and stuff. It's got like a little grot in the back, like dumping gasoline. It's pretty great. Then
name it
that's about it. But most of them are like common, like half of them are good mixture of close combat and fire, weapons fire, or magnetized. I started painting one of them. So I started painting the Chicken Walker ones. So that it'll be 3 units. 3 units. Each unit of 3 is going to have like a distinctive way of locomotion, right? So 3 of them have Chicken Walker legs, 3 of them have the quad legs, and then 3 of them are just more stompy, like that's traditional Def Dread. So I'm starting with the Chicken Walker ones. The one I finished painting has the torso of an actual Def Dread. Arms are magnetized. I replaced the engine grating with window screen and gave him alternative shoulder pads. He's got a little sensor hat and he's got armature legs. But I put cute. Like some, he is cute.
Yeah, he's just adorable.
I put some plates on him on the legs and stuff too, and he's just super stompy and happy. He's fully painted, except I haven't done any weathering on him.
Yeah,
I'm holding off on that. I might wait until I have the whole unit done before I do weathering. But I took pictures as if he were done. That way, if I mess up the weathering, I have good pictures. Also, I'm a little worried that if I like the weathering, the sponge weathering, that I'm going to have to go back over my entire army and do sponge weathering on all of my vehicles, and I don't want to do that.
Oh, man, you've got...
It sounds like a nightmare scenario to me.
Yeah. Although it's kind of amusing because I've noticed that you will sometimes, what's the word I'm looking for? Encourage people to do things that are,
painful.
Yeah, there we go.
Soul crushing.
There you go. Yeah, this seems to be 120 grots level of second edition grots, I might add.
Right.
Yeah. So
So he's finished, and I started another Chicken Walker one. This one still has. What does it have? Is it a regular? Yeah, it is. It's another one with a regular Def Dread torso. But I gave it it's got regular Def Dread legs on the upper thigh, but it really just makes up the upper thigh. I did some trimming and glued that. Each of those legs has a new lower leg joint.
Yeah.
Which is the armature melta cannons. So I had 2 armature melta cannons, and I made those into lower legs. So the cannon, like barrels, are sticking out the back, and it almost looks like the legs are like they have their own independent engines, internal combustion engines for each one.
Yeah.
So that one, I'm really happy with the way it looks as I paint it. That one, it does have all four limbs are magnetized, but the more I looked at it, the more I was like, like the big upper arms were super wobbly. Didn't really have a lot of magnetic strength. So what I did was I just put a little bit of glue in there, a little bit of super glue over the over the paint.
Okay.
So if I ever want to snap them off, I can very easily just snap them off, and they'll still be magnetized. No big deal. That's almost done. So that second one will certainly be done by tomorrow, probably.
Yeah.
And then I'll move on. The other chicken walker is the flamer Def Dread. So that'll take a little longer because, like I said, I'm going to be painting flames on that guy, and those are going to take a little bit of time. And he's also he's got a lot of parts on him. So
he's got a lot of gas tanks.
He's got a lot of gas tanks. Yeah, he's going to be a lot of fun. That one's going to be fun. People are going to want to shoot that every time. And I'm going to be like, I'll let you shoot it, but he explodes on a 4+ instead of a 6+, just letting you know.
Well, that's where Death Company comes in for the Blood Angels.
Well, yeah, it's clearly. And so I did a lot of that painting during the Flipside Hobby Hangout and during the Hobby Hangout with the Adeptus Terra crew. So that was pretty good. Actually, we did a couple of Flipside Hobby Hangouts this week. That was good.
Yeah.
I've also been messing.
I was sad I missed the Adeptus Terra one just because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, you were busy editing this episode. So then we have the Matter Hackers toxin-free resin that I was working on. It is not great. I am not happy with it.
Yeah.
It's very funky. It's not sticking to the plate. You can't pour the resin back into the bottle or else it messes up I don't know what happens, but it messes up it contaminates the rest of the resin somehow.
Oh, okay.
And like even if you use like a screen to filter it, it doesn't. I don't know. It messes it up. So I'm not sure what to do. I bought 3 packages of it.
So what's okay? So you can't pour it back in because it's probably started to oxidize, which is it's trying to bring oxygen into it, and okay.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. I'm trying a new bag because the first bag I contaminated with the old resin, and I set the settings so that the exposure time for each level is like super long. So maybe I'll get a good print out of this.
Yeah.
I promised to print some Demiurge battleships for somebody, and the amount he's paying me will pay for the resin, so it's not a big deal. It'll pay for like all 3 bags of resin, just for doing this one print job. So that'll be helpful.
Yeah, that will be. Hopefully, it's just you had a bad. Hopefully, you just had like a bad bottle or however. Yeah. Or filament, or however the hell this is.
It comes in bags. This one comes in bags. Some of them come in bottles. I like the bags. It's really cool. And it really is much less toxic. Like there's no the Mars 2 Pro has a carbon filter for the air intake or the air exhaust, and that actually works pretty well. But this stuff, there's nothing. There's no fumes. And when I get it on my hands, if I accidentally get it on my hands or my arm or whatever, it's a lot less corrosive to your skin too. A lot less irritating to the skin.
Well, that's nice.
It is nice. So I kind of
Yeah.
want it to. I kind of really want it to work. So I'll keep you posted on that. I'll actually probably tell you by the end of the episode whether it worked or not.
Oh, okay. That's right. Things happen while we record.
Yeah. All right, buddy. What have you been working on hobby wise?
Okay, so let's see. Got a few things, but I mean they're all small things. So
all
I think
small things. Truth care. Truth brings. Always.
I'm not adding their
I
tune.
know. Okay.
Not adding their tune. We're not paying royalties. All right. So
you left me roses by the stairs. Surprises like she knows she cares. Go ahead.
So what the listeners are missing is that Adam and I have now switched to this thing where we can watch each other. And so Adam was like really getting to the song, and I'm really sad that we didn't have that video. So
I can't pick my nose on camera anymore, people. It's the worst.
Well, you could. I mean, I don't care what you do.
I could. That's gross. It's gross. Yeah. Go ahead. What did you do in the hobby? I see a cursed city box behind you.
Yeah, it's back over there, but
it's already covered in about an inch of cat hair.
Shut up.
Or is that your hair?
Does it matter at this point?
I mean, they're one and the same. They're all one and the same. Can't tell the difference.
Yeah, but I can't. Well, no. Stop. I'm going to stop that commentary. We're going to keep going. All right. Building Cursed City minis. Beautiful minis, but I do not like building them. They are, they're a nice, beautiful sculpt that's been chopped apart by a 3D modeler. And yeah, some of the areas you're supposed to glue together are very small. And that just kind of freaks me out because then it does leave some very small fault lines. Like you can look at it and go, yeah, that's exactly where it was put together.
Again, don't put too much glue in those holes.
Oh, well, I've been cutting the posts off. Just easier that way. Let's see. Building some terrain that could be used for either Adeptus Titanicus or 40k Kill Team. Some real angular stuff. Whenever I start painting it, I'll throw some pictures up on Facebook. So in my notes, I was contemplating Be'lakor. Well, nope, I bought him.
Purchased.
Yeah. I was thinking, no, I'm not going to do this because I don't need. What has Be'lakor done with 1,000 Suns? Nothing. What has he done with the demons I'd be running with? Nothing. How is he with, Chaos Unbound? Well, Chaos Unbound's kind of terrible. So, but I just thought he was cool, and I was like, yeah, let's do this. His wings kind of look to be similar in size to the Hive Tyrant, but after I've messed with them a little bit, they're a little short, so I'm just going to stay with his regular wings just because.
They're good wings.
Yeah. They're good, and there's some really cool stuff that you can hang off of there, like bones, and if you want to do the 40k version, there's a Space Marine helmet, which they have painted quite nicely in the Ultramarines colors. Or if you want to go with the fantasy, I think there's like a skull with a what is that called? A crown skull. So I don't know. We'll see.
I've been thinking about picking him up, by the way, dude. Like he looks so good. I feel like here's the problem. Yeah. Here's the problem. I have the Dorks army, and that army
and what's the name of your Be'lakor?
Orc Core. And he is the centerpiece. Like right now, he's the way the army works in Age of Sigmar, even from in friendly gaming. Like people don't want to play against my Dorks because I lose so bad with them if I don't take Be'lakor in like a mixed chaos. It's a specific list that gels Be'lakor and the different demon types together. Anyways, I digress. When that new model came out, my little conversion Be'lakor suddenly looked very, very sad on his little base with his little wings. And I made him out of an old Savage Orc Savage Orc model, and I gave him Ralpartha dragon wings, and he's awesome. I love him, but it is a sad little model compared to the new one. So I'm thinking my plan is I'm going to try to find some Savage Orc 3D like STL files, scale it up like 5 times, and print out the same kind of model, except I'll also buy Be'lakor and stick the wings on.
Yeah.
And then I'll just use the Be'lakor demon body for like a demon prince, or maybe a really cool looking like a Bloodthirster or something. I still have a bunch of Bloodthirster bits, so I might do that. And or if I can get away with it, I might like use some green stuff and green stuff him into like a quadruped type, like hunched over thing, and do some other kind of demon engine or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I don't plan on just printing a new Be'lakor. I'll definitely, because those wings are great.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I'll also hack the horns off, because those will be perfect. Because that's kind of the way his horns look is his wings and his horn and the sword are all like part of his presence as Be'lakor. So if I use those pieces along with the 3D printed parts, it'll not only will I feel good that I actually bought the model, but also it will feel I'll feel like it's a legitimate like people will know what it is. They won't have to ask me, oh, what is that? They'll know it's Be'lakor.
Oh,
so that's I think that's my plan there. I'm looking forward to what you do with it, and you can tell me everything that you did wrong so I can not do it wrong.
Well, what I'm thinking about doing is my favorite demon prince has a bunch of Tyranid bits. And I'm going to dig through my Tyranid bits, because the wings aren't the right size, but I might have some heads or something like that I can modify just to make him more like that one demon prince I have,
Okay.
Just to, I don't know. I don't, one of the things I don't like about some of the monopose builds is that then it's very difficult to go through and do any sort of conversions on them. And so I'm probably going to see if I can find some sort of head or whatever for him to make him not so the same, I guess. Whatever. All right, let's see. Next up, finish Cerastus Knights for Adeptus Titanicus. Basic needs more work, but I mean, that's just me. I got some airbrushing in, which let's not curse on air. It has been a while since I airbrushed, so I started laying down the red what is it? The Ghost Tint red on the Photep. That thing is big, immense, whatever phrasing. Yeah. It's so big that I would like lay down the red layers. And by the time I was at the end of the model, the front was dry, which normally you airbrush, this Ghost Tint and let it dry, just very thin layers, and then put it aside. But by the time I was at the end of it and done the underside and whatnot, it was dry at the front. And so I was like, well, okay. So it actually got painted a little bit quicker than I thought it would be.
Because you didn't have to wait.
Yeah.
That's fantastic. It's a big model. It's so big.
Yeah. We're just going to...
I'm glad the resin issues were kind of locked down and cleared out. That's good.
Yeah, it's fine. It's going to look awesome whenever I start putting the other colors on there, because there's a couple of like flat panels that are going to look perfect for the Thousand Suns logo and some of the other color scheme. So cool. I'm pretty stoked about it. I'm not going to get a chance to work on it yet because I need to have time for a hobby bender, but we'll talk about that later. Let's see. Amon and the Thousand Suns Praetor that I bought and whatnot. Those are looking good. I'm trying to paint the Amon miniature similar to the Forge World scheme, and he's going to be riding on a disc of Tzeentch that I have converted from the Space Wolves, Dreadnought kit, because
he's not going to schlep like a chump. He's gonna ride.
Yeah, the thing is that his miniature is kind of posed for like he's running forward. So this thing's going to be like, looks like it's going to be in your face immediately. And I like that. A lot of motion in there. Yeah, Disco Zinch, basically done. It's super shiny. I'm going to seal the gloss just to make it, shine. Let's see. And the last, I had an Imperial Knight that I bought a couple of summers ago. Not last summer, but the summer before, that was already built. And the Thanatar that I got from our buddy Jordan, and an Armiger that I had for a while and was already painted in another scheme. And I base painted those in the Shao Arcade colors for my Forge World. So I'm pretty stoked about that.
That's awesome.
Because I'd practiced the scheme on these Adeptus Titanicus models. I was like, okay, this works. So yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. All right. And that's my hobby progress so far.
Is that it?
That's it.
All right.
We both have had a lot of hobby progress. So
we have. Well, it's been like 3 weeks, I think.
Yeah.
For games played, I did what I hope is our last Mass Camera game with the Queensberry guys. We're gonna our vaccine cooldown will be timed out by the time we play again. Yeah. I teamed up with Travis's Death Guard versus Kendrick and Kendrick's White Scar successors and Dave's AdMech. We played the Pandemic Locale mission from Plague Purge, which we'll talk about a little bit later.
Yeah.
So what I've been finding is I am still having issues like being patient with my Drukhari. I always want to go all in on turn 2, and I need to stop doing that.
That's the orc player.
Yeah, I'm like dead by turn 3, and that's not great. I need to come up with a way to kind of lighten, like do a little damage at beforehand, and that's the narrative way to play that army. I just keep forgetting it, and I keep trying to play orcs. And that was really detrimental in our game because, with Travis playing Death Guard, he had the staying power to withstand a couple turns of shooting from their armies. So if I had let him persist on the battlefield and slowly march forward in his little castle, with me kind of on the outskirts shooting dark lances and stuff, and then if I came all in on turn 3 when both he and I were launching assaults at the same time, it would have been a much better game. It was entirely my fault that we did so poorly, but it was a fun game, and it was my first real Crusade game with the new Drukhari Codex, and I'm having a great time with that.
Good. It's good. Yeah, those lances are good against Space Marines, I've noticed.
Well, yeah, between my Dark Lances and we had a good opening volley because we killed a Primaris Dreadnought in just a one turn of shooting between his it's like the entropy cannons and my Dark Lances. It had no hope. We overkilled it by like 10 wounds. It was terrible. We would have, if they'd had an Imperial Knight, we would have killed it.
Yeah. That's okay. That's Well, I mean, that's learning the new the new codex and figuring out how to do those things. Yeah.
Be a little more efficient.
And also, did you ever play the Drukhari before Pandemic, or is this all been Pandemic?
Plenty of times. Oh, before Pandemic? No.
Yeah.
No. It's all been on Tabletop Simulator, and I can't wait to bring them to Flipside for the first time.
Yeah, I think that. Yeah, I think as you get used to them and being on the table, that that'll change all that. All right, so
I'm a little worried. Once this Dread Mob's finished, I might be bringing Stompy Robots all the time now.
Well,
it's tough.
It's tough. It is tough. Yeah. All right. My game's played. Is it May yet? Please. Come on.
Right.
I need to go on a hobby bender, a gaming bender, where I just don't do anything, don't answer email, don't answer my phone, and just be an idiot. Yeah. So I think, although for gameplay, I think we're going to start Cursed City pretty soon. Actually, the guys might have already started it. I just haven't been up at the shop. So, but I think all of us have been vaccinated now, so that's not too bad. That'll be good.
I'm a little worried that most of the people who are going to get vaccinated are basically on the track of being vaccinated, which means all these millions of other people who haven't been vaccinated just aren't going to.
Yeah, that's kind of my
That'll be tough for gaming.
Yeah.
Well, whatever.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's worry a little bit less about the great beyond and worry a little bit more about Beyond the Fringe. So I'm late to the Expanse party. Apparently that's a great show. 5 seasons in, it's a great show. I'm on season 4. It's pretty great. I hear it goes off the rails in season 4, but Aaron and I both we watch it together on Friday nights.
Yeah,
I don't see any off the rails things happening. Maybe I don't know. Maybe we haven't read the books, so maybe that's why we don't care. It's pretty great. Good characters, strong characters. With I don't know, it's just really great writing, really great animation, really great stories. So
yeah, it's good stuff.
I'm all for pretty hard sci-fi. There's still sound effects in space, but explosions in space are pretty cool. So
yeah,
that's fine. But it's pretty hard sci-fi for being so far in the future, and I like it. There's a lot to do with like resource scarcity and whatnot. In the solar system, I like that a lot because that creates conflict and intrigue. Even the political characters are cool in that.
Yeah, really it's good casting.
Excellent casting, and it's nice. It's nice giving people who may not have been in a lot of shows a chance at being typecast.
Yeah.
It's like Patrick Stewart once was asked if he was worried about being typecast as a Star Trek captain, and in not so many words he said, "Oh no, I will be beloved for the rest of my life and have a job, have a steady job whenever I want it. Oh no, every actor's worst nightmare." Right? Like so.
And so then he went and did Professor X. Yeah, there we go.
Well, that's just it, right? Yeah. Like if you go into life with a positive attitude and you're not crappy about it, like you'll probably actually end up doing a lot better. Yeah. A lot of those things end up being self-fulfilling prophecies, right? Yeah. So
I'll always remember him from what was that, the Excalibur movie?
Oh yeah, yep.
Yeah.
He also played Richard the Lionheart in Robin Hood Men in Tights, and
he was in Dune.
He was in Dune.
Yeah,
exactly. From henceforth, all porta potties in the kingdom shall be referred to as Johns.
Yep.
Also, we got the new puppy, and he's pretty great. His name is Sunny Days Fasolt. He is a delight. He is a little prick. So I haven't slept much. Having a little puppy in the house is like having a toddler that sleeps like an infant. Mm-hmm. It is terrible. He's adorable though, and him and Quinn are like best buddies. It's the best. It's so cute. It's so cute I could die, and I might. We'll see.
There's some great pictures. Even posting on Facebook and Instagram. Mm-hmm. My mom really liked a couple of the ones with the two of them together. It's like, oh, they're going to be so cute together. I'm like, and Adam's not going to sleep, but that's okay. That's his fault.
Yeah, it is my fault. Yeah, entirely my fault. So my Instagram, if anybody wants to follow my Instagram, It is 90% Quinn and 10% models. Now it'll be like 20% Quinn, 10% models, 70% Sunny. Because Quinn is now number 2. Quinn is now number 2.
Oh, so. Wow. How far the mighty have fallen.
Oh, it's true. He had a few good weeks there, but no turning back now. What's your Beyond the Fringe, Jason?
Okay, so a little bit of nerdiness. I've started documenting how I'm modifying, how you say Beyond the Fringe, just because it's good research and good things to think about. So last week was the tape reel treatment, which is a plugin from Pro Tools. It's a free one, which, that's a great price. Next up is going to be the sci-fi plugin from Pro Tools. It has a built-in ring modulator and some other goodies. I can create some really ring weird modulator stuff. Yeah, there we had that joke before, didn't we? All right, this
before week, what, Jason?
I don't know. We'll talk about that in two more bullet points. This week, I'm going to try the NPR vocal processing technique. I already do a similar process, but they roll off the lows more dramatically than I do. Sorry for the nerdiness. I could go
lows?
way into this. Yeah, low frequencies. They
okay.
They roll off at 250 hertz, which is I think that's B. It's pretty close to B.
It's too bad. It's too bad. It's too bad they can't filter out all those mouth sounds that the morning people do. Those people need to freaking drink more water. Stop drinking so much coffee before going into work, and drink more water.
Too much coffee, man. That's what they are. So I do apologize for the nerdiness. This is something that I do as a profession, so I start thinking about that. So, anyways, my Beyond the Fringe choice, I've got two things. One is sleep, because I'd like to have some, and two, the second was make sure that the correct mic is selected in your system preferences.
How dare you?
How dare I? Yes, I know. Just a spoiler, this is the second time we're recording this episode because my mic was not selected properly because I made a rookie mistake. So, we're going to try and get all the good content from last time, but add more content that's even crazier.
It's not. I'm not drinking tonight, so...
No, that could change. I mean... My refrigerator's like 10 feet that way.
So maybe you can drink and I'll stay sober, and we'll see how that works.
We'll see. I don't know. If I drink, it'll be at the break, so I'll start picking up stuff.
Right. So in the Astropathic Communique this week, we've got a thanks to Berman who I failed to mention.
Thank you.
Put together that PDF of all the name generators. Thank you.
Yes.
I appreciate you putting forth all that effort, because clearly Games Workshop isn't interested in putting forth any effort anymore.
And there's a really great Thousand Suns name generator in there too.
Right. Oh, good.
Oh, yeah.
Games Workshop. One of the other big notes of news is Games Workshop supply issues. There's been tons of supply issues. They're actually delaying new releases for a couple of weeks to help them catch up. There was a whole row and hullabaloo about Curse City and their inability to fulfill all the orders people wanted. I guess there were printing issues on it or something, or whatever the case, they can't go back and make more. I think it's probably more to do with whatever releases they have coming up that they can't push back. They probably pushed stuff back too far already. For example, if we're getting a whole new Eldar codex with all new Eldar models, I don't think there's any way they can stop that crazy train, because if there is, there's also going to be a campaign book to go with it.
Yep.
And
and we still haven't we haven't gotten through all of the Caradon yet.
No, Caradon is still going strong. The new White Dwarf has Caradon content, and the one coming up has new Caradon content. We'll cover that too.
Yeah.
So that's.
I do talk about that a little bit farther down the Astropathic Communique, because there was one thing that's really exciting.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay, so new White Dwarf. When we originally recorded this, I hadn't picked up my White Dwarf, and I picked it up yesterday. And there's, of course, new Flashpoint Caradon articles, and that's really cool. And there's a really super sweet painting guide for Forge World Metallica at AdMech. It's beautiful. Nice.
Do you think those guys are really good at? Well, of course it gives you nightmares, dude.
Look at the paint, like.
Whenever we, how do I put this?
Okay.
We're off to Neverland. Wow. Wow. Oh, clipping.
I fell right into that, didn't I?
Yeah, you did. You fell into it. It's pretty good. So, guys,
there's also 1,000 Suns. Oh. No, hold on. There's 1,000 Suns part in there too.
Oh,
so they are coming for book 2.
Remember from the Caradon book, they were talking about how that one sector had some 1,000 suns in the one planetary system that had the what was it, the inquisitorial bastion in it.
Yeah, so, vaguely.
But, of course it was vaguely because they just barely touched on it. So maybe that's what maybe that's what it's talking about.
I hope so, because that means we might get some more rules for the 1,000 Suns and updated codex. Although I think Eldar are probably before that.
Who knows?
Supply issues, man. Yeah.
Yeah, brutal. All right.
Brutal.
We're going to take a quick break. I'm going to help put dinner together. Let's take a few minutes, and we'll be right back.
I want to get a beer.
There we go.
Come here, boy. Get the ball. Aw, come on, Max. Get the ball. Mom, Max won't get the ball. He's lazy.
I think I know why your Zote is being lazy, Jenny.
Why, Mom?
Because you forgot to feed him Zotobix today.
Oh, no.
Oh, yes. Zotobix contains all the nutrients and random animal parts a growing Zote craves. It not only provides our Zote with the energy it needs to play with you and protect our home, but it also keeps its chitinous shell fresh and shiny.
Oh, boy. I'd better feed Max his Zotobix.
Yes, you had.
Zotobix is made in part from grade A Astra Militarum post-engagement byproduct and is infused with 112 essential vitamins and minerals harvested from your Zote's natural habitat, the finest desert devils. Zotobix is available in any shopping center on worlds where Zotes are allowed or where the Imperium's inexorable influence has not yet reached.
Greetings, mofos.
Are you out of George Dickel number 8, staring at a broken chess machine?
Well, don't want to spend the rest of the year tied to that couch?
Well, why don't you head on over to the 1 Hour a Night Facebook page and see what exciting stuff is going on there. It's a place to post all your daily progress in the hobby grind, as well as receive and give positive feedback. Also, there are usually a few interesting challenges going on.
That's right. All you have to do is search for 1 Hour a Night on Facebook. That's numeral 1 Hour a Night, all one word. Blood serum tests will be administered prior to approval.
Se til helvete og kom dere vekk. Det ikke bikkje, det en slags ting. Den imiterer bikkje, men det ikke det. Kom dere vekk, idioter!
What he said. All right, welcome back, everyone. So if everybody wants to turn their hymnals to page 12 to 14, we've got new agendas in this book. Now, the great thing about this book is it's got all the stuff you need to play a Crusade game.
Yeah.
And it duplicates all the stuff. It's, in previous books, they had the rules, right, just to play a game. Mm-hmm. So, like, just the basic rules of the game. But this also has all the Crusade rules for starting playing a Crusade game, including agendas and stuff like that, which is really nice. And they don't even say in addition to the rules in the core rulebook. No, they include all the stuff from the core rulebook as well, which is really nice in this small format that's easy to carry and take to the store. So it's improved on Beyond the Veil with that. Now, the agenda headings, like the agenda types, haven't changed. And there's a new one for almost every heading, for almost every taxonomy.
I don't know how to pronounce that. Go for it, man.
Yeah. Every taxonomical division here. So for Purge the Enemy, hey Jason, you want to talk about, we're going to go over these because I feel like Jason really needs to Jason needs to learn some agendas that aren't like the same one
Reaper?
he takes every single time. Reaper. Yeah, try let's try learning agendas that aren't Reaper. It'll be I think this will be a good refresher for us. Yeah, continuing education, a good refresher for us to go over these. They're all paraphrased. Keep in mind all of this is paraphrased, so a lot of stuff, like a lot of little details we've left out. So don't take this as sacrosanct. This is just kind of a reminder.
Yeah,
we'll go over in more detail each of the new ones, though.
All right, so we'll go ahead and start off with Purge the Enemy. Assassins, which is a duplicate, no change. 2 XP for killing each character. Which is actually... You okay there? Wasabi. So, there's my assassin stratagem right there, or my agenda. So, I've now gained 2 experience points for Adam, dying of wasabi poisoning.
I'll be okay.
It's all right. It's only flesh wound. Then we have priority target, duplicate, no change, 2 XP for killing each vehicle or monster. Sorry, we haven't had video for very long on many of these episodes, and Adam is currently...
I'm okay. I'll be all right.
It seems like he's breathing fire as we speak. That's okay. He didn't need the walls there. They're going to look fine scorched. It'll be great. Titan Hunter, duplicate, no change. 4 XP for killing each Titanic unit, which that's actually, a nice up charge there, since Titans are going to be supposedly a little bit more difficult. And Kingslayer, 3 XP for killing the Warlords. Duplicate as well, no change. The next one, though, our first change, or our only change in the Purge of the Enemy group, is Calculated Eradication. New. So, keep a tally for your units. They increase this tally for killing enemy units within range of an objective marker. If a unit has any tally, they gain 1 XP, and the unit with the most tally gets 2 additional XP. So it becomes a competition to see which of your units can, kill units that are on objective markers. How you doing, Adam? Still alive?
Great. I'm doing great. So in this one, you're probably going to earn more XP than you would with just Reaper. It's just that you can't just willy-nilly kill whoever you want.
Yeah.
But I think in general, you'll earn more XP from this. And actually, it's kind of training you to be a better player, because you need to
grab the XP. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Although
several of these missions, you really need to kill things that are on objectives in order for you to score those objectives as well. So you're going to be doing this anyways.
Well, one thing that's kind of nice as I'm looking at this and thinking about it is, it'd be nice if there was this paraphrase written into the book, so that there wasn't so much...
There's a lot of text, right?
There isn't so much noise to the signal. You can actually say, okay, it's just this and this and this.
Ninth edition has a lot of noise.
Yeah.
It's to make things clear, and the game is really clear. There's stuff that people are still questioning, but it's still very clear edition.
Yeah. I mean, I might end up going through and writing this stuff in my book just so I can get it down quicker.
Right.
That's one of the issues I have is like, look, I don't have a lot of time to play. Let's get this thing nailed, and I don't want to go through and read, 2 essays just to figure out, hey, this is the agenda I could take for Purge the Enemy.
Yeah, I don't blame you. Yeah. I don't blame you, dude. So the next one is No Mercy, No Respite agenda type. Ooh, I can talk so much better now that my sinuses are totally clear.
Well, that's what helps you cauterize those things, man. Burn it all the way through. Burn it with fire.
I'm 42 years old. There's a lot more hair up there than you think. So First Strike is an old one. 1 XP per unit killed on turn 1. Cull the Hordes, 1 XP for each. So the first one, that would be good for things like Tau or Imperial Guard who rely on that turn 1 eradication, because later they're just going to be dancing around hiding from things. Cull the Hordes, duplicate no change. 1 XP for each phase a unit kills 6 or more models. So if you're playing against orcs, take that.
Yeah.
Well, most orcs anyways. Reaper.
Yeah.
2
My
XP
favorite.
for the unit which killed the most enemy units. Yeah, you're guaranteed to get those XP if you killed anything.
Yep.
The last one is a new one. There is only war. If you killed more units than your opponent this battle round, one of the units that killed something gets 1 XP. And that unit can't get more than 3 in each game. So that one's really neat. That's you're earning XP every turn for killing more than your opponent. So that'll be good if you're fighting against somebody with a bunch of MSU. If you're going second, that's easy to get. So yeah, I like that.
That would be pretty nice. I might be interested in taking that one. Just depends. Like for my Thousand Suns, I've got a bunch of, I've got horrors, which, because it's a basic troop, and man, those things don't kill a lot. They just sit there and say, "Oh, your fast unit there, it's not going anywhere. It's going to stay right here with all of its friends. You want to run? That's fine."
If you're playing like Custodes or Imperial Knights, that's a good one because you're going to be killing more units than anybody else.
That's very true. That's
very
a good.
nice,
It's good. That's a good idea. That's a good notice. All right, then we have a battlefield supremacy. So Sentinel duplicate, no change. One specific unit holds one specific objective at the end of the battle, and it gets 4 XP, which that's actually quite a bit.
That's a lot of XP. As long as you can keep those people alive, it's basically the commander saying, you need to hold this objective. You need to stand here the whole time. You better. I guess you technically don't have to, but you have to be there by the end of the game, or else
horrors.
You're fired. Horrors, yeah. They'll do just fine. They'll do just fine. It might not be the same horrors by the end of the game, but it's technically the same unit, so you're good.
Okay, that's a good thing to think about. All right, breakthrough, duplicate, no change, up to 3 units, and then your opponent's deployment zone at the end of the game gets 2 XP. That would be good for your Drukhari.
I take that with Drukhari all the time.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Absolutely. If any Drukhari are alive at the end of the game, they're getting XP.
Oh, that's fine. That's sad. All right. Survivor. Well, they could take this instead. Duplicate, no change. One specific unit survives the battle and gets 2 XP. Or if they're not below half strength, they get 2 more XP. So 2 to 4 total if they're half strength or more. That's a duplicate. Critical position. Sorry. This beer is getting to me. You're okay. Ew. Critical position. No, I think I'm okay. I don't think I have any. That's okay. So, critical position. After choosing deployment zones, your opponent picks one objective marker. You gain 2 XP to each unit within range of that marker at the end of the game. They get 3 XP if you control it.
Yeah, so it's basically your opponent picks one objective that's important to them, and you have to take it.
Yeah. All right. Then center secured.
Centra,
whatever. Centra secured. This one is also new. A unit gets 2 XP if it is within 1 inch of the center of the battlefield at the end of the game, as long as no enemy units are within engagement range or are within 3 inches of the center of the battlefield. That could be like
this might synergize well with some of the missions.
Yeah, especially because there's a couple of missions that are very much about the center of the field, if I remember correctly.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have like a nice relic that you have built as an objective marker that goes with your army, it'd be really cool to have that as your center secured.
Centra,
whatever.
All right. So next we have Shadow Operations. All of these are old, but we'll go over them real quick. Secure supply cache, 1 XP performing an action on a different objective marker. Sabotage defenses, 1 XP for performing an action on a different terrain feature in your opponent's deployment zone. These are kind of low XP for what they're asking you to do, if I'm being perfectly honest. Investigate malignancy, 1 XP for performing an action on a different battlefield edge, which that one's really interesting. That one can probably be kind of easy.
Yeah, we talked about this.
You can stay in a corner and do it.
We talked about this earlier, when we recorded before the before
Clearly.
time. Yeah, and I remember thinking that would be, that's actually kind of a difficult one, because depending on where you had, like, which battlefield edge do you get to, and thinking that's 1 XP is,
Yeah, all of these ones that you have to do an action to do it almost feel, maybe it's just me, I'm terrible at getting objectives performed, either A, because I want to do stuff with my units, or B, people are up in my business before I can do anything. So I kind of feel like the ones that require you to perform actions should be worth a little more XP. Why don't you talk about the Warpcraft ones?
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. Like, maybe if you had a Raven Guard with a whole bunch of scouts, but scouts are now elite and no one takes them. So I don't know. Anyway, all right, Warpcraft. Witch Hunter. Duplicate, no change. 1 XP for killing a Psyker, or 3 XP for killing a Psyker character. That could be interesting in my list. Lord of the Warp. Duplicate, no change. 1 XP, keep a tally of manifesting powers, performing psychic actions and denying the witch. Reset the tally if you perils. The unit with the highest tally greater than 0 gets 2 XP.
I love that it resets the tally if you perils.
Yeah, that is kind of funny.
Can you imagine doing that in turn 5?
Oh, I'd be so mad. I'd be so mad. All right, Scry Malignancy, duplicate, no change, 1 XP for each objective you scry. That's kind of interesting.
Yeah, I mean, your characters tend to just kind of follow the other models into battle anyways. They're pretty protected.
Yeah.
I think he should be able to perform some kind of ritual on the objectives. Yeah. But also, Lord of the Warp is a pretty easy 2 XP as well. So you might want to think about that one.
I guess if there's like 4 or 5 objectives, then or even 6, then Scribe Malignancy would be like one to go with. But if it's a small patrol, Lord of the Warp. Although every time I see Lord of the Warp, I think Lord of the Dance. Okay.
Just take Reaper and take Lord of the Warp and just send your Demon Prince forward, and he'll just get 4. He'll just get 4 XP. That'd be great. Just murder things with his brain magic.
Yeah.
Sounds delightful.
Yeah, that'd be a lot of fun with him.
Right. Yeah. So those are the agendas, and again, these are all listed in the Plague Purge mission pack. You don't need the core rulebook to do this part.
That is pretty
cool. Another thing, there are new requisitions that you can get. Mm-hmm. Now, these are new. You will need your core rulebook for building your Crusade army. So since agendas are necessary for playing Crusade, they're in the book. But requisitions are really only necessary for building your army, and not all of the rules are in here for that.
Yeah.
We're going to paraphrase these. I'll just go run through them. Veterans of Obelisk. It's one of these ones where you can use it before the start of the game, and you get the use of a free Plague Purge assault stratagem. And there's another one called Raiders of Obelisk, and you get that. You can use a recon stratagem for free. Those 2 stratagem types we're going to talk about in a little bit. There's 2 new stratagem categories that you can select from for your games. This also shows that there's more and more of these requisitions that you burn to get yourself a special ability during the game. I'm not sure how I feel about those, because you use these requisition points to build your army and to increase your roster. So I really am kind of confused. Like you get 1 RP for playing a game. So if you spend 1 RP, then you're net 0 right off the bat. So I don't understand it. I almost feel like maybe there's some regrets as to what those RPs were supposed to be used for. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm a little confused. Anyways, next is Adapt to Overcome, 2 or 3 RP. You can swap out a weapon enhancement. It's 2 RP for a Plague Purge enhancement and 3 for any other. Normally, you can't swap weapons that have enhancements on them.
Mm-hmm.
So this is a way to do that. Specialist Asset for 1 RP. Temporarily gain a weapon enhancement during a game. So that's pretty cool. In case you're going after a specific enemy, it might be good to have a certain weapon enhancement to help defeat them. One more Into the Breach, 1 RP. A unit that fails an out of action test doesn't take XP loss. That's amazing. That would be worth it.
Yeah, that's worth it.
That would be worth it. Strength Through Suffering, 1 RP. A unit with battle scars earns +1 XP every time they earn XP. You have to cure. So if you want to do this more than once to a unit, you have to cure all the battle scars first, and then you can use it again if they get more battle scars later. So you'll have to kind of keep track of that. But I like that. That's one very Drukhari, right? That if you've got all these battle scars, you're earning additional experience throughout the game.
I think that one and one more Into the Breach. I think those two would be worth that requisition point. Some of the others, I don't know. I think it's a bit expensive.
Yeah.
All right. So
the stratagems are awesome. These are good. Yep. I love getting these new stratagem categories. So what I think we got going on here is in the previous book and some of the other books, especially in 8th edition, a lot of these narrative missions have specific stratagems you can use for each mission.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they pertain to that mission. And a lot of the time, those stratagems ended up being samey. Like you could use, they would kind of repeat the abilities of one stratagem for one mission on another mission. They might just call it something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what they've done here instead is they've expanded on the stratagem categories. Now, first of all, okay, I think right now we're on our third, first of all, but whatever. I'll just digress and it'll be fine. I love the codexes have these categories in them because there are entire sections of the stratagem section you can ignore during gameplay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot less confusing to figure out which stratagems you want to use. It's still confusing, but it's a lot less confusing. You know?
It's just a lot of data.
It is. It's a lot to remember.
Yeah. And it's one of the things I didn't like. Like at the end of 8th edition, I basically stopped running stratagems because I was tired of dealing with it. And, I was playing a lot of Kill Team, which has few stratagems, but they're much more limited, and I like that. We're just like, here, just a couple of stratagems I don't care about. But then, you have the Space Marine stratagems, which was a card deck, of just immense stuff. I was like,
even in Kill Team, like this, the Space Marine stratagems can be a little overpowering.
Yeah.
Now, what I wanted to do was maybe the next time we play, I've been hearing other people talk about doing this, where you take just 6 stratagems and you only get to use those during the game.
I think I like that. That sounds like it's probably a house rule, but I think that'd be a good.
Oh, it's definitely a house rule. But here's the thing: if we do that, you'll start becoming more and more familiar with the stratagems that
I run. That would be
that you'll actually use them going forward. But we can limit them at first just to make it less confusing. I might just do that with myself, just as a self I don't want to call it a nerf because I wasn't remembering to use the damn things anyways. So
yeah, but
anyway,
well, having limitations can sometimes lead to more creativity.
Absolutely. Yeah. I love that. I love it when somebody comes at me for a project and says, I need this done, but I need these specifications. Like that's way easy. Sometimes that's way more fun than just the world is your oyster. Do whatever you want. Right?
Yeah. Because then you don't have any sort of, outer bounds. What are there? Okay. What kind of,
right.
Yeah. I much prefer that. So yeah.
So, in this book, they added 2 stratagem categories, recon and assault. And each mission is either categorized as a recon mission or an assault mission. And in those missions, you have access to those specific those stratagem lists. So instead of each mission having 1, 2, or 3 or whatever specific stratagems, they have recognized that some missions are very similar. Some missions have similar characteristics to others. So those stratagems would apply from one mission to another. I could see them coming up with another, more categories with fewer, like more specific categories with fewer stratagems, but you could still do that. Like maybe like a siege list of siege stratagems or zone mortalis or whatever.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Stuff, or city fight stratagems. If they decide to do that again. So instead of sure.
Yeah.
So let's go through these. You want to do the recon stratagems first? Again, these are all paraphrased, so there's probably a lot of provisos and quid pro quos on these that we're not going to talk about because we don't care.
All right, so up first, recon. Advanced scouting, 3 command points. Deploy units 6 inches outside your deployment zone. Aha, I didn't get caught by the DZ. But 9 inches away from enemies in their zone. Then we have maintain focus, which is 2 command points. A unit can perform an action while shooting.
That's really helpful. Yeah. A lot of specific codexes have that stratagem, but this is nice to have for, especially these kinds of missions where a lot of these missions require you to perform actions. So if you're scouting ahead and you're getting in the midst of combat, it'll be nice to have that.
Yeah. Selfless prosecution, perform an action while an enemy unit is within engagement range per phase.
Yeah, that's going to get really expensive.
Yeah. Yeah, that could get
it might be worth it.
Yeah.
It might be worth it.
Swift engagement. If you fail a charge against a unit holding an objective, you can re-roll 1 or both dice, which I think that would be pretty great if you don't have a army that gets like an automatic re-roll on charges or something like that.
Right, like orcs do.
Yeah.
And it basically lets you do... So normally a lot of people, they would only get the command point re-roll for that. So it's kind of nice to have 2 re-roll charge stratagems you can do.
Yeah, and also you can re-roll 1 or both.
Or both, which is really big. That's huge.
Yeah, mental concentration, 2 command points. Manifest a psychic power after performing a psychic action, which I should probably take that.
That's really good.
Yeah. Rapid advance, after you 1 command point. After you roll to advance, change the result to 6. You can't charge or shoot even if you normally can, which that could be really good.
Yeah, that's really neat. That's it. They have that in Age of Sigmar as a tactic you can do for a command point, and I use it all the time. It's nice to just say, I rolled a 1. No thanks, I rolled a 6. Let's get on to position. Now, again, all these make sense as recon stratagems, right? Like this is the kind of special stratagem you'd expect to see on an 8th edition scenario that had like scouting as a focus.
Yep, definitely.
So next we have the assault stratagems. These are kind of more for your frontline combat type missions. Stand ground 2, auto pass morale, even if you're only if you're holding an objective. So normally the auto pass morale stratagem can only be, I don't remember, insane bravery, I forget what it's called, but normally you can only use that once per game. This gives you an additional stratagem that you can use to auto pass morale, as long as you're grabbing that objective. Turn the tide for 2. Unit gets obsec for the game. That's awesome.
Yeah.
As somebody who plays Death Skulls, I'll tell you, what? It's really nice having like a weird unit with objectives secured, like a character or Terminators or something like that. Like, it's pretty cool.
My Demon Prince.
Your Demon Prince. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I mean, your horrors are already obsec, but
yeah,
like if they weren't, and making them obsec would be crazy.
Yeah.
So,
just imagining
an Imperial
this.
Knight.
Yeah.
A Bane Blade. Objective secured Bane Blade. You know, it would be cool if they had, I think one of them has like a recovery vehicle arm on them, so that would make sense as as objective secured tank. Dig in. All units in your army get light cover for the rest of the game unless they move. Inspired command. Add 3 inches to the range of a character's aura until your next command phase. That's really nice.
Yeah, that's nice.
2. Trench assault and go to ground are the Phil bifecta.
Oh yeah,
or the Phil hat trick. Is that what it is? Hat trick?
I think it's
hat trick.
Well, hat trick's normally 3 things, but
so all right. Well, whatever.
Phil
Trench
will
assault
blow up enough stuff that it will be 3. You know,
in trench assault, you get +1 attack if you're fighting models in the enemy deployment zone, and go to ground. And a unit in light cover gets -1 to hit at it until their movement characteristic is halved. So go to ground as a stratagem now. That's really cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's nice to bring.
There's
that
good
back.
offensive and defensive ones in that one. It's not like in some of these you could say, okay, so we could split these into assault attacker, assault defender ones if you wanted to. I could definitely see that where trench assault is an attacker stratagem and go to ground is a defender stratagem. I think that makes sense. Stand ground, that's a defender stratagem. Inspired command, that could be both. Dig in, defender, turn the tide, attacker. I think that might be a good way to split them up if you wanted to get a little more granular.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I think next time let's do one of these missions that are in here and each pick just 5 that we can use. And we'll try them out, see what we like. All right. So we're gonna take a break, and we're gonna come back and go through the Crusade objectives for these missions, and we're gonna talk about the combat patrol missions. Damn, I knew it was around here somewhere. Damn, where is it?
Can I help you?
Ah! Scared me.
What do you seek?
I need the perfect scenario for a narrative game I'm running this week, and I can't find one.
Sir, this is the Black Library. We don't have narrative scenarios.
Well, then where should I go?
Might I recommend the Tabletop Campaign Repo?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo? What's that?
The Tabletop Campaign Repo is an ad-free site for hosting resources related to playing tabletop miniatures wargaming.
Oh, like scenarios?
Absolutely. Also, event packs, custom objectives, tracking sheets, custom terrain rules, maps, icon packs, award templates, and more.
Oh, and this is for Warhammer 40k?
Among other things. There's also Age of Sigmar, Kill Team, Warhammer Fantasy Battle, and others. They're always open for content submissions for any system, even non-Games Workshop materials.
Oh, that's awesome. It sounds like a great way to save all of this great content the community makes. A lot of that stuff often ends up disappearing into a dead message board or Facebook group.
Exactly. It's a real community effort.
Great. So how do I get there?
Just go to that webway gate marked tcrepo.com.
tcrepo.com. Got it. Can I ask you one more question before I go?
Fire away.
This place is really easy to find. How come Armand can never find it?
Oh, because it's more funny that way.
Oh, yeah, clearly.
Once again, the Tabletop Campaign repository can be found at tcrepo.com, and they're always looking for submissions.
I was wondering how long it was going to take you to stop me.
I was wondering myself. Okay, go for it.
This is David Annandale, and you're listening to Masters of the Forge, where they bring the world of Warhammer 40,000 to life on your tabletop.
Welcome back. So, I wanted to kind of go through these. I pulled out all of the objective scoring criteria from all of the missions in Plague Purge. I also skimmed through Beyond the Veil and, for what it's worth, Tactical Deployment to see if I could find any more unique ways that Games Workshop has been using objectives in their scenarios. Hopefully, disassembling all of this and getting it into the podcast. I've also put together a PDF for the website if you want to download it. Hopefully it'll help everybody start to work on their own scenarios and piece things together into into their own narratives. So let's start. I'll just run through these.
Yeah.
If you want. And we can just chat about them. So the first group of objectives is endgame holding. So holding multiple objectives, holding one objective, like in the Relic, hold objectives on the enemy deployment zone or in like a specific area of the battlefield, like the center or like something like that. Then you have progressive holding, which has a lot more moving parts to it. So you have just regular progressive holding of objectives. Then there's holding of specific objectives. So holding the ones in the enemy deployment zone or another area like we talked about in endgame ones, except a lot of the time there's like alpha and beta objectives sometimes, which is interesting. Then there's hold objectives, except you can maintain control of them after you move off them. Sometimes that's just how it is. Like sometimes you just get that. Sometimes you have to use an action to maintain control after you move off. This is actually the default way of doing it in Age of Sigmar. It's supposed to represent you've taken the field and you move on. It's assumed that you still have, like, nobody's come to claim that territory. So it's not like you lose control of it because nobody else has taken it from you yet.
Yeah.
Okay. But then people can take it from you later if they show up like Deep Striker or something like that. Hold objectives that have been revealed by actions. So a lot of the time there will be objective markers on the battlefield, and you can't start scoring them until you uncover them with an action, until you find out, like, you know, which ones are the primary objectives or which one's the relic or something like that. Hold specific objectives on specific turns. This one's really neat. There's a mission in Beyond the Veil where there are 5 objectives. Number 1 is in the center, and number 5 is on the battlefield edge. And you have to hold each one based on the number, based on the turn it is. So number 1, you have to hold on turn 1 to score. Number 2, you have to hold on turn 2 to score, etc., etc. That's to simulate an organized fighting retreat.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that one was that's a really cool idea. You could also use that methodology to do like a ritual. Remember in the Battle for Fenris or whatever it is? What's that one called with Magnus? Well, one of the Wrath of Magnus ones. Yeah, Wrath of Magnus. There was a scenario where the objectives are arranged in the symbol of Tzeentch.
Yeah.
And it had something to do with that. Like, I think you actually did have to hold them on certain ones marked 1 on turn 1, etc. So you could really do that. That could be a lot of fun. Like if you did Nurgle.
Back and look at that book. I have to go back and look at that book. I know exactly what it is.
Yeah, I think that would be neat. Or like perform actions on specific ones at specific times with specific units, maybe. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Like the Sloppity Bile Piper has to activate one of the runes of Nurgle, and then the Malignant Plague Caster has to activate the next one, and then the third one is activated by like a Demon Prince in Nurgle or something. That would be neat.
That would be pretty cool. Although it would definitely lead to what's the word I'm looking for? Definitely look for like assassin type things. Just like, okay, we gotta knock him out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They would definitely have to be surrounded by lots of poxwalkers.
Yeah, that's not too difficult.
No.
There you go.
Then hold objectives that were previously held by your opponent. So stealing objectives from your opponent, which is a really cool one. I like that one.
Yeah.
That's one that like came from Maelstrom. Maelstrom, a lot of these types of objectives originally came from Maelstrom, and Maelstrom had some great ideas, but a more structured approach is definitely appealing. And then we have holding positions like the enemy deployment zone, a table quarter, near the center of the battlefield, a terrain feature, maybe even the highest elevation on the battlefield, like you're going after a skyscraper.
Yeah.
And then you have like things that are layered on top of the methodologies, like time of holding. Yeah. So if you have one, if your thing says you have to you hold it at the start of the command phase, like your command phase, usually you can't score that on turn 1. You have to like move onto the objective, survive a turn of fighting before you control that objective. And a lot of the ones in matched play are like that. Then there's scoring at the end of your turn. These are a lot easier. They can sometimes be scored in turn 1, but pretty rarely. Most of the time, but it's a lot easier to say, okay, it's my turn. Let's see what I score. And that's a lot more palatable to a lot of more casual players or narrative players, I think. I just had a thought, like it would be interesting if different objectives on the battlefield, you were forced to wait until the start of the next command phase, and some where you could score them on your turn. Like different objectives had different criteria for when you have to hold them. That might be an interesting idea.
Wasn't there one scenario where you had to hold an objective for 2 turns before you could claim it?
Yeah, that was one from the Maelstrom mission pack.
Okay.
The Maelstrom card. It's a Maelstrom card, yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I remember that being really narrative, like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. Yeah.
Then we have the end of the battle round. Those usually can be scored in turn 1 because you have a little tete-a-tete there. Because the person going second definitely has an advantage in that one. Mm-hmm. Because if you go second, you can look and see what your opponent has on all the objectives, and you can apply your forces in a way to steal those objectives very easily. So it's good, if you do a mission where you score at the end of the battle round, I recommend allowing scoring at the end of battle round 1.
Yeah.
Then we have conditions of holding. So you can't hold something unless you perform an action on it. So that makes sense. It can only be held by specific units. So maybe you have, I don't know, like a command and control console. Mm-hmm. Only HQs can hold that.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Something like that. I think that would be neat.
Or infantry elites or something like that.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
Can't hold it in the presence of enemy units. So that's the default setting for most objectives. You can't, your models cancel each other out, but you might also want to apply it to holding areas like table quarters and terrain. You might have kind of a bonus there.
Yeah.
Then you have unit destruction and survival. Now it's interesting, like unit destruction manifests, like objectives based on unit destruction manifest in a few different ways. We'll go with the more direct ones to start. So killing enemy units turn by turn. So that's usually kill 1, kill more, whatever, than your opponent. Killing a specific number of specific units. So these are kind of like marked for death or primary targets. Mm-hmm. So your opponent picks the 3 units you have to kill, and you score based on that. Yeah. So you're like, okay, I will pick my demon prince, this giant mass of pink horrors, and this sorcerer, which I'm going to deep strike on turn 3 and hide.
Yeah.
Killing units which have performed actions. So we played a mission like this where every unit had information that they were passing from one unit to another. And if you killed any of those units, you got victory points for doing so because you've destroyed the information that they were passing.
Yeah.
Before they could be communicated to the HQ. Now here's one. Units survived instead of killed. So look at all of those unit destruction ones we just talked about and flip it. Like certain, you score for having a X number of units alive at the end of the game, or you score for having your primary targets alive at the end of the game, etc. And then you have actions. So you could score based on actions performed on objectives. So there's a couple of them here, right? There's actions that are easy to perform, and there's actions that are hard to perform.
Yeah,
and actions that can only be performed a very few number of times per game, and some that can just be performed willy-nilly, and there's a lot of objectives to perform them on. And we're going to see an example of those in the future. Just keep your like victory points low for the ones that are easy to perform, and high for the ones that are difficult to perform. So like if there's only 2 objectives and you have to perform an action on that objective to win the game, those objectives are going to be mobbed by the enemy like turn 1. So those aren't going to be easy to perform. If you've got 6 or 7 objectives on the battlefield and you get victory points every time you perform an action on one, and you can perform the action multiple times, those should be worth very few VP because that's easy to perform. Then we have, you have like end game scoring on that too, like the number of times you did it or whatever. Then you have progressive scoring on actions. So I haven't seen this yet, but you could say, oh, you perform the action more times than me this turn, so you get more VP. Kind of like the kill one, kill more, except it's perform actions, perform more actions type thing. I think you could do something with that. Right. So that's all the... So the one thing I wanted to say about unit destruction. So you don't actually have to explicitly say kill X units, get X VP. Because there's some scenarios that tell you to say score X VP if you are in your own deployment zone and there are no enemy units in your deployment zone. That is a unit destruction objective, even though it doesn't specifically reward you for killing a certain specific number of units. It's still a unit destruction. You get points for killing things because you're keeping them out of your deployment zone. And I really like that because it doesn't matter how many units your opponent has. It doesn't matter how big your opponent's units are. If they're committing resources to trying to deny you that, it's going to kind of be a wash. It'll be the same amount of force applied. So there's no inherent like negative for having an MSU army in that scenario, because it'll take the same amount of force to apply to get rid of that, depending on how much your opponent commits to that purpose. So I really like that. I think that's a really cool way. Like area denial is inherently a killing units objective. Just keep that in mind as you build your scenarios. All right, Jason. I think I'm ready to start going through these missions. Now, we're going to go through the combat patrol ones first. And this is going to take a lot longer than the other sections because a lot of stuff starts getting duplicated later on. There's a lot of duplicate stuff, and all of this is very much paraphrased. Okay? Now, we're going to go through and we're going to read the mission briefings because that it helps us understand it helps us understand what the purpose of the mission is. And if the mission doesn't, in some cases it doesn't, if the mission doesn't live up to the mission briefing, then what are we doing with our lives? Why are we doing this, right?
Right. Yeah.
So anyways, keep in mind also that some stuff, we're paraphrasing a lot of this. So imagine like we're not including every detail of when the thing can be scored or whether you can score it on turn 1 or whether flyers are allowed to score it. For the most part, the answer is no. Flyers cannot score it.
Yeah. It does mention that in a lot of the
and we're
the
just not going to. We're not going to sit here and bore you with all those details. We want to get to the meat and potatoes of how Games Workshop is applying the objective scoring that we just talked about in the missions themselves. Okay. And that'll help us understand how maybe get a good idea of making our own.
Yep. All right.
All right, Jason, do you want to take the first one, Infiltrate the Ring?
Yeah, we'll go ahead and do Infiltrate the Ring, which is, I think I made this joke before. Make it again. Not a Johnny Cash tune.
Butts. Oh, that's right. I think we did that before too. You made a Johnny Cash joke, and I made a joke about buttholes.
Yes, nice. and I'm not censoring that either.
I hear that flame a coming up my bit butthole. That's not even the right song.
No. No, it's not. That's all right. So, Infiltrate the Ring. Mission briefing. A specialist force must attempt to infiltrate the enemy's fortified line. If successful, they will cause untold havoc for when their larger forces make the full assault. Yeah. All right. Battlefield. So the battlefield front line, the defender's deployment zone is 4 inches from the center line and split into 3 separate squares. There's an objective marker in each square, which is only 6 inches from the center line. Pretty interesting little deployment zone. Mission rules.
Yeah, like it's split into those three squares, and each of those squares defends an objective. That's neat.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Mission rules. So we have the assault stratagems. Players have access to the assault stratagems, and they can use each one once. Patrol duty. The defender deploys all their units first, but split as evenly as possible between the 3 squares. The attacker just deploys with everything.
This is really interesting because I was playing a buddy in a matched play game the other day, and it's like when I read this, I was like, "Who cares if the defense? Why do you have to go into great detail about the defender deploying all their units first?" And I was playing. I'm like, "Okay, I put a unit down. You can go next." And he's like, "What do you mean?" I'm like, "I deployed a unit. You deploy a unit." He's like, "That's not how you do it." I'm like, "What?" I forget. In matched play, they deploy the one person deploys all their models, then the other person deploys all their models.
Yeah,
so that's what this is.
Rules on us.
Yeah, well, it's fine. I don't really play match play that much. So, but yeah, normally in narrative play you go 1 for 1, but in this mission the defender deploys all their units.
Yeah. All right. So surprise attack. The attacker decides who has the first turn. Ooh. Also, in any of their command phases, they may decide and reveal which of the objectives is the alpha objective. So
that's really cool.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. All sorts of things you can do with that. Then you can play all sorts of fun metagaming there. Objectives. Test the line, which is progressive, 5 VP for holding 1, holding more, or holding the alpha objective at the end of the battle round.
So that's really important because the attacker gets to decide whether they go first or second. And so that means if I were the attacker, I would actually want to go second because you score at the end of the battle round.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Even though your opponent is going to get a turn to move forward and kind of cap those objectives, I don't know. I think I would still go second.
Yeah. Infiltrate the line, which is an in-game. 10 VP for holding 1 and 10 VP for holding more. The attacker scores 10 VP for being in the opponent's deployment zone, and the defender scores 10 VP for holding their own deployment zone and keeping the enemy out. That's kind of nice because you can hold, since there's 3 deployment zones, I guess. Is that what they're saying? Is you keep them out of each individual deployment zone?
Yeah, it's the whole deployment zone.
Oh, the whole deployment zone. Okay.
Yeah, they're only split up for deployment purposes.
It could be interesting if you had like that sort of thing where they're only if they're out of zone A.
Oh, yeah. That would be cool. Like 2 points for each zone.
Right.
Instead of like 10 points for all of the whole thing.
Yeah.
If you scored like 2 or 3 points for each zone, or score 2 points for keeping them out of each zone except for the one with the primary objective in it.
Yeah.
And then you score like 6 for that one.
Yeah. That could be something
that would be neat.
Yeah. All right. Victor bonus. 1 unit within range of the alpha objective marker gets 4 XP. If you held it, if you didn't hold it, they get 2 XP instead. Yeah.
That's good. A Victor bonus. I like Victor bonuses that apply to the mission. That makes sense that it goes with the mission. Yes, one of the units that helped score that alpha objective gets extra XP.
Yep.
Perfect. I love it. Some of these missions do not do that. And we'll see more about that later. Someone might have marked in his book.
Yeah, it was.
Next we have Survivors of the Fallout. Page 22 of your hymnals. Mm-hmm. After an orbital bombardment or massed artillery fire, 2 surviving forces battle it out in the aftermath to wipe out their enemy and be the survivors of the fallout. That's a dumb mission briefing, but it's a cool mission.
Yeah.
You're going to have access to the
I like the deployment zone. Like we mentioned this before, but I love what it looks like because there's this giant hole.
Yeah. A big circle. It's like a table quarters deployment. So, you're across from each other in different table quarters, but then there's a big circle in the middle, which is the fallout zone. So there's 4 objectives kind of arrayed in a square around it, and then 1 in the center. And you're kind of going after all this. You're either taking readings or you're gathering the detritus of war that was from like the unexploded bombs or whatever.
Yeah.
Or maybe there's 5 objectives.
Cool. Maybe there's something cool in the middle of all that. Maybe there's a surviving relic or piece of a necron.
Right. Despite the massive explosion that happened there, they whatever it is survived. Yeah, that's cool. So for the mission rules, you have access to the recon stratagems, and you can use each one only once. You have sweep and clear, so you maintain control of objectives even after you no longer have units in range. And ranged attacks for the Fallout zone, any ranged attacks that go against units that are in the Fallout zone get +1 to wound. That's definitely something you could use elsewhere. And we kind of saw it in some of the Psychic Awakening Warzone stuff.
Yeah. Yeah, there was some psychic stuff, right? That you could where psychic powers were more powerful, or was that in the Beyond the Veil book?
But still, you could do something very similar with that. You could have, instead of being Fallout Zone, it's like Empyrean Infiltration Zone or something.
Yeah.
For the objectives, it's very simple. Just to sweep and secure. Secure 4 VP at the end of each battle round for each objective you control. Very simple.
Mm-hmm.
And for the Victor bonus, keep in mind, you maintain control with those objectives as you go. Then you have, for the Victor bonus, you get 2 marked for greatness instead of 1. Somewhat boring, but it's a cool mission.
Yeah. All right. Tech Relic. I think I made a joke about this should be a Blood Ravens mission. This mission shows up a couple more times, but much more expanded. Mission briefing. An enemy has withdrawn from the area and in their haste left behind a valuable tech relic. ripe for the taking. 2 forces now descend, intent on securing it for themselves. They must discover and secure the relic, and hold off on an enemy looking to do the same. We should have you do this in your Casey Kasem voice. That would have been better. So anyway, because this is a Blood Ravens thing, definitely Dawn of War battlefield, 9 inches from the center line. Our mission rules, we have the recon. The recon stratagems are being used. Objective markers, place 2 each, starting with the attacker within 4 inches of the center line, and not within 7 inches of each other or 4 inches from the edge. Uncover tech.
Just place them right down the middle with a little bit of variation.
Yeah, it's just super. It's super easy. It's old Dawn of War. I mean, yeah. How long has this one been around? 6th, 5th, 4th edition, 2nd. I don't know. Let me see. Uncover tech. Action within range of an objective at the end of your movement phase. Infantry completed at the end of the turn, and others complete it in your next command phase. Roll a die. I'm not going to say dice. Roll a die. It still bothers me. On a 5,
I like that the infantry completed at the end of the turn.
Yeah,
that's
that is
really
nice.
Cool.
Yeah, the other thing I like is that on a 5-up, you have found the tech relic. On another number, remove the objective. It went away. The chance improves with the more objectives that have been removed. +4, +3, +2, etc. That would be funny.
The last one is the relic.
Oh, I was just thinking it would be kind of funny if, and I think we mentioned this before in our previous recording, that wouldn't it be funny if you rolled it and it never showed up?
Right. If instead of the last number being a 1+, it was a 2+.
Yeah.
And you roll a 1, there's no relic. Well, crap.
I think that'd be funny. I mean, that would be totally 40K. It's like, you had all this hope. Let me take that from you. Yeah,
no,
you don't need
you
that
don't
anymore.
get hope.
Yeah, no hope here. Escort tech, action starting in the command phase and ending at the end of the movement phase for model within 1 inches to pick up the tech relic. That model can't be removed from the battlefield voluntarily and drop the relic if killed. So, yeah. Objectives, tech relic secured, end game, 90 VP for controlling the tech relic. Area secured, end game. If the relic hasn't been uncovered, 45 VP for controlling 1 and 45 VP for controlling more. Or, if there's no relic, haha. Victor bonus, 1 weapon enhancement, which I think we both liked that.
Yeah, no, that's great. That's exactly the kind of victor bonus you want from a tech relic mission.
Yeah, definitely.
Thank you for doing that. That's really good. So that's a fun one, an interesting one. Like the whole revealing objectives until you find the primary objective and then you can move it. I like that. It's a lot. I think it's a bit more interesting than just having one objective in the middle. That's the relic. Because you're going to fight over, in that one, people ended up just fighting over that one objective the entire time. In this, you're spreading out a bit first, and then when the relic does get revealed, then you have to kind of reposition yourself to go get it. And it's more narrative, too, because in a lot of cases, you're not going to know exactly where it is in the area that you're going after it. Okay, so Seed Malignifier. A malefic horror could turn the tide of the war. One force must lay down the groundwork so that it comes to pass, while the other must investigate this new threat and destroy anything they find. Unfortunately, I mean, this is one of the things that I'm kind of not liking about Plague Purge as opposed to Beyond the Veil. Beyond the Veil had a lot of asymmetrical missions.
Yeah.
Where the attacker was doing one thing and the defender was doing another thing. In this, almost all of them are. The attacker and the defender have the same objectives. Right. And they just they just make it seem like they have different objectives from the mission briefing. Yeah. I don't like that. I would rather you try to come up with some unique way of having an asymmetrical mission and without having an asymmetrical mission without having to just kind of magic hand wave the story for it. Now, some of them actually use the deployment type and as a way of massaging that a bit. And we'll see some of those missions in a little bit here. But really, it would be nice to kind of adjust the actual mission objectives a little bit to better fit the story of each opponent. So for this one, it's a Dawn of War deployment, and there are 2 objectives on the center line that are pretty far from each other, which is nice because you don't want them to be too close or else you have a relic situation.
Yeah,
it's a recon mission. There's a special rule called Malignant Interaction. It's an action that can be performed at the end of a movement phase on one or both objectives, and the action lasts until your next command phase. And the objectives are capture and control 6 VP if you hold 1 or hold more, and Malignant Interaction 4 VP for each interaction they complete. There's a copy pasta error in the book. It says max 12 VP. The most you can get is 8. Mm-hmm. And then the victor bonus is 2 RP instead of 1. 2 RP, I guess, is fine for this. It's not super. This isn't a super imaginative mission because revealing the objectives has no bearing on you being able to hold the objective. You just get points for revealing, and then you also get points for holding. And it's a simple mission for. I guess I would pick this if I were trying to teach somebody actions and stuff. But it's a more simple combat patrol style mission.
The nice thing about that, though, is as I've had time to think about this since we did the recording the other day and we're doing it now, it has 2 RP as their bonus. And we were kind of griping, I guess, about what we thought about having some of these RPs being so expensive to just pick up like one-use stratagems. But if they start going through and making victor bonuses like 2 RP or 3 RP or 4 RP, then those other things don't look so expensive anymore. So maybe that's true. Maybe that's a future thing. I don't know. Some
of the victor bonuses in here are very imaginative. Some of them are not. The free use of some requisitions is a good way to do it. Just getting a bonus RP is good if you're trying to build up your army. Giving free use of specific requisitions could, like balance wise, you could give more than just 2 RPs worth because you're saying this can be used for something very specific. So I like that.
So
the next mission is a hot street trash garbage fire. In fact, I don't want to keep kind of rolling back to the previous recording, but I did in fact draw X's on my book over this mission. So just a little spoiler for what we have going forward here.
Adam wasn't very happy with the mission before we started talking about it, and then I started picking apart things, which made both of us even more unhappy. So we're going to try not to do orbital bombardments on this discussion, but we think this mission could be better.
All right, go ahead and read the mission briefing.
Okay, so mission briefing. This is run them down. In the aftermath of the brutal assault, the attacker maintains their momentum to hunt down a retreating enemy and defeat them entirely. Okay, cool. So the battlefield is a double-nested chevron going long ways. Attackers in the smaller pointed part of the chevron, and the defenders in the larger retreating chevron. The deployment zones are 18 inches from each other.
Now, right at this point, you're saying, okay, this is cool. The defender has this big area that they're retreating out. They're retreating off the battlefield on this side, and the attacker is pushing in from the other side.
And there's a big area, no man's land, of about 18 inches between the two. Mm-hmm. Sounds great. Okay. Here's where it falls apart. There are 4 objectives. 2 on the short center line, which is in no man's land, and 2 on the long center line in a plus sign. So there's 1 in the defender's deployment zone and 1 in the attacker's deployment zone. Mission rules. Assault. Spear thrust. During turns 1 and 2, the attacker gets +1 to advance and charge, which that makes sense.
That's awesome. That makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. Hold the line. The defender can fire Overwatch without spending CP, which makes a lot of sense. Also makes sense. Yeah. Defender ignores combat attrition modifiers. If it can already do this, it's fearless instead. Makes sense.
It doesn't make any sense.
Objectives, take and hold. Here's where it starts to fall apart. Take and hold progressive at the end of each of your command phases. Score VP for each objective you control, and additional 4 if one of them is in your opponent's deployment zone.
Why would the defender be in the attacker's deployment zone?
And why would the defender even go into the no man's land? I mean, that's just
like, why would they do that?
Yeah, makes 0 sense.
I don't understand this mission at all.
Yeah. Overrun end game overrun 10 VP if a unit is wholly within the opponent's deployment zone.
Which makes sense for the attacker.
Yeah.
Makes sense for the attacker, does not make sense for the defender.
I mean, honestly, as you know, we've thought about these for a couple of days, and my thought is this would actually be a really good mission if you had different sizes of armies. You know, or certain concentrations, like the attackers are all fast attack, the defenders are all infantry, you know, those sorts of things. Anyway, victor bonus.
Yeah, I don't know. This almost makes more sense as a mission where if the defender is like cornered.
Yeah.
And they're trying to escape or something.
Yeah, that's
the only way to escape is to escape through the enemy that's attacking them. I guess.
See, that would make sense. But I don't know that mission briefing is what's here.
Yeah, that's not the kind of mission we have here. And still the way the objective markers are aligned, it still wouldn't make any sense with that.
Yeah.
With that description.
I don't know. All right, Victor bonus.
Here's the poo frosting on top of the slurry cake we just got.
So basically, we're not big fans of this one. Adam did draw his opinions
on my book.
In the book. I did not, because I just saw the double chevron and went, okay, I know that's bad, automatically. Victor bonus. Unit in the victor's army that killed the most units gets 3 XP. Yay! Next.
That's a very insipid. That's a very insipid bonus.
Yeah,
I hate that.
Not big fans of that one.
No, not a fan of that mission. So next one, I am a big fan of. It's Raid for Supplies.
Is this the one you drew the heart on?
Oh yes, I did. Yeah, this has got the A+++++.
HEART. Heart on. There we go. Okay, Raid for.
I hate you so much. As major conflicts are fought on the front line, opportunistic raiders strike at undefended position to loot supplies and claim materiel. This also brings up the point that combat patrol missions you don't just have to play them at the start of a campaign.
Yeah.
They can represent these little missions that happen throughout a campaign, even when you have like 200 power level available to you. You can still play like a Raid for Supplies mission because you're going to be doing that throughout the campaign. I love it. A great way to like level up new models and stuff too, right?
Exactly.
Like you could bring a couple of your powerful units in, and they can take along some recruits with them.
Yeah. Got the elites with the scrubs. Make sure the scrubs get powered up. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a simple Dawn of War mission. You place 4 objectives, and it's in the classic objective placement. You guys place the opponents place the 4 objectives willy-nilly on the battlefield, but then you pick deployment zones afterwards. So it's technically balanced, except if I play orcs, I usually put my objectives in the middle.
Yeah.
So my opponent puts theirs in their deployment in one deployment zone, and I put them in the middle, and it's just a cluster. You can also perform the loot action. It can be it's an end of your movement phase and is completed at the end of your turn. So they're very easy to complete. And each objective can be looted 3 times.
I didn't mention this before, but I really like that they can be looted 3 times.
Yeah,
that's
because there's more stuff.
Yeah,
there's stuff in there. You can't get it all in one arm load.
Yeah, I mean, it's just that scream. That's like one of the most narrative mission rules that's in this book.
And you know what would be neat? Yeah. You could apply this to different loot types too. So in this one, it's like just gear and whatever.
Yeah,
you could say these are like Prometheum relays. You could do Prometheum relays. So each unit is carrying, maybe one model in the unit is designated the Prometheum carrier, and they have like a Prometheum tank on their back. And instead of
sorry,
I mean, probably. So like, instead of just scoring for, like in this one, it's score 8 VP for each successful loot action.
Yeah.
Instead, you take the loot, like a loot marker, and put it on the unit. And then, you could either say whichever ones survive to the end of the game, you get points for, or whichever ones you bring over to your deployment zone, you get points for, or to a specific location on the battlefield. All kinds of stuff like that. I like this mission a lot. There's a lot of potential for it.
Yeah. Yeah, I did too. Definitely.
The victor bonus is you can use a requisition before the next battle without spending RP. So you basically get a free use of one of those one-time use requisitions.
That's nice.
I like that.
Yeah,
that's fun. This is a fun mission. I love it. A++++. Great job.
There's a reason we both remembered it, and you drew all over it.
So we're going to take a quick break because we've been talking for a while, and my back teeth are floating. Potty break. Everybody needs a potty break. I might have some more wasabi and breathe fire on Jason. Okay, I'll be right back. Potty break. I need to have a potty break. I gotta pee. I've had a coffee. And some water, and some coffee, and then some coffee again.
Hello, everyone. The Masters of the Forge is now a proud member of the NPC, the Narrative Podcast Consortium. Our aim is to inspire your hobby through the rich lore of the 41st millennium. If you enjoy our podcast, then make sure to check out these other awesome shows, where you can get coverage on campaigns, Black Library, and all kinds of general topics of the 40K background.
The NGC 40K podcast also provides in-depth campaign coverage, audio dramas, and free-flowing narrative campaign creation.
The Adeptus Terra podcast also features in-depth discussions of the lore and commentary on the hobby.
Oh, and sexy English voices.
Oh, yeah.
The Masters of the Forge brings the world of 40K to life on your tabletop, with discussion on the lore, backed up by narrative-themed rules and battle reports.
Of course, this is only a fraction of the topics covered by the podcasts of the NPC. Please tune in to find out more.
Hey mofos, are you looking for more Warhammer 40K video content? Well, the Scarred Cast posts regular battle reports as well as tactics and strategy videos. Be sure to check out all the cool hobby content for the avid tabletop wargamer. That's Scarredcast, Skared on YouTube.
Welcome back, everyone. So we're going to be talking about the incursion missions. So this first mission is going to sound a little bit like one of the last ones we just talked about, but it's actually a little bit different. Quite a bit different. It's just called the same. So Jason, you want to fire off with this one?
Yeah, let's go ahead while you finish your delicious sushi. This is page
32.
Of your hymnals, yes. All right, so Tech Hunt mission briefing. An enemy has withdrawn from the area and in their haste has left behind valuable technology ripe for the taking. 2 forces now descend, intent on securing it for themselves. They must discover and secure the technology and prevent the enemy from doing the same. That almost sounded like part of a Prince tune. Sorry, go ahead. Where was I? Battlefield, Dawn of War, 9 inches from the center line. Recon objectives, or recon stratagems. There are 4 objective markers, each marked 1 to 4, each player placing an odd and an even marker face down. Placed within 4 inches of the center and not more than 7 inches from each other or 4 inches of the edges. Uncover tech. Perform an action to reveal an objective marker's number. If it's an odd number, remove it. Infantry complete the action by the end of the turn. Everyone else waits until the start of their next command phase, which that's pretty nice.
Mm-hmm.
Objectives. Uncover tech, progressive. 10 victory points for each uncovered tech they complete to a maximum of 30. Or scavenge tech. And scavenge tech. 10 VP for holding any uncovered objective markers, and 5 VP if they control more than their opponent.
Mm-hmm.
Victor bonus, weapon enhancement. That's pretty sweet.
I love a weapon enhancement for this.
Yeah.
It relates to the mission objectives, and the mission objectives relate to the mission briefing.
Yep.
Love it. It's a bit like the relic, except you can't move it. You can't move them. And there's 2 active ones at the end of by the time you reveal them all, instead of just 1, which is good when you get to the bigger sized games. You kind of want that, I think. I played this mission against Death Guard, against Pope, I think it was Pope. From the ICs, and this was a fun game. It was a close game too. My new Drukhari versus his Death Guard, and it was good fun, like running in and revealing the objectives, and his Poxwalkers dying down to like me killing 8 of his Poxwalkers, and then him killing 8 of my ladies, and then them turning into Poxwalkers and increasing his Poxwalker count back up to 20, and me being very salty about that, and then killing all of them with my Incubi or with my Hellions anyways. So that was a very exciting game. I like this mission.
I don't know if we mentioned this. We are now in the incursion size missions.
Yes.
Everything else is combat patrols. A little bit bigger. Yeah. This next one, do you want to talk about it since you have put it in gold leaf?
Bold and gold. This is bold and gold in the notes, guys, because this one is awesome. And it's really actually not that exciting a mission, like objective wise, but I just love that they've this is the only mission. There might be one other one that does this. Yeah, there's a couple other ones, but not as many as in Beyond the Veil, where they involve the terrain a little bit more, and I like that.
Yeah.
So this mission is 2 forces have dug in and repelled all attempts of assault. Now specialist teams have been brought forward to break the deadlock. So the battlefield is kind of small for it to be 2 bastions fighting each other across a no man's land. I'm like, this is very close together. Why would they be this close together? But it's an abstraction, you guys, you know?
Yeah.
So it's a hammer and anvil long
Hold on. I have an idea here. Yeah, sorry. Coming in with the other stuff that goes in my brain. So having one of the having one of them being a true bastion and having another one being a sorcerer's tower or something like that. Some sort of movable, terrain, whatever, almost like a Hammerfall bunker, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Anyway, yeah. I don't know.
Maybe.
I'm just thinking
I like
that.
it. Or one could be like a permanent structure, the other one a temporary structure, something like that, just kind of dropped in to okay. Yeah.
Like a big wooden
challenging
horse.
The position. Yeah. I just sipped my drink through a straw in the microphone, by the way.
That's okay. Whenever I go to do the compression, it'll show up as something weird. So
really? It'll say something weird. Adam did something weird.
Well, if it said that specifically, it would be saying that a lot all over the file. But it'll show as like some.
This is the part.
thing.
This is the part during the break where Adam put on a Snuggie.
Yeah, well, I'm so jealous right now of the.
It's cold
there.
So it's hammer and anvil deployment, long ways, 8 inches from the center line. 2 pieces of terrain are placed in the center of each zone, with an objective placed inside them. So they are set up by their defender. Set up by their owners, starting with the defender, and they're just build it narratively, like build your battlefield narratively, but each player's actual defensive position should be intentionally set up to be defensive, to be difficult to get at,
Yeah.
Because that's the whole point of the mission. And yeah, there's 4 objectives, 1 in each of those area terrains and 2 in the no man's land. The mission rules, this is an assault mission, obviously. The next one is defendable positions. Mm-hmm. Basically, you can upgrade your area terrain that you picked for your home base, and you can add any of the terrain traits you want to that it doesn't already have. I'm assuming most folks will have a ruin anyways, but you can add whatever you want to that. Or if you want, you can instead just have that piece of terrain provide an additional 1 to saves.
Yeah.
Which would be nice. Then we, heavy cover is not a bad one because you get the plus.
No,
you get the plus to your save in close combat.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be
neat. It'd make it a lot easier to hold that terrain.
Yeah.
The objectives are fairly milquetoast, but like I said, the the incidentals of this mission make it interesting. For this one, you get 5 points each for hold 1, hold more, and hold your opponent's objective. Very simple. Yeah. I have a feeling holding those no man's land objectives will be very important. Now position secured is an end game, 30 points if you hold your opponent's objective. So if you can just force a stalemate throughout the game and then make one mad, once more unto the breach into your opponent's terrain feature, I think you could really do well here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the victor bonus is you get an extra marked for greatness. I guess I would say it would have to be. I would say it would be better, just like the other mission, if that marked for greatness had to be put on a unit that was within the opponent's area terrain at the end of the game.
Yeah, that'd actually be pretty nice.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this because when we looked at this the other day, I said that it reminded me a lot of 7th edition, that it had a lot of 7th edition flavor. And that's fine because I played 7th edition the entire way through and really adored it. But as I was thinking about this more, I realized we're going to talk about another mission later called Choke Point. And these two are really similar. There's some differences between them. But as I'm thinking about it now, there's some similarities there that are really cool. And so I really do like this mission quite a bit because of that, because it's got these 2 area terrain pieces that we've never done this before, and in these missions. So, or at least I don't think we have. Or at least I don't remember us doing it. So, all right. Next up, tip of the spear. Mission briefing.
Instead of talking about this hot street trash mission, which they decided to actually take the worst mission in the book and duplicate it and just do it for incursion and just use literally all the same words to describe it. So great.
And you drawled over this one too, right?
I did. So instead of that, I'm going to ask you, Jason, what's your grandmother's first name?
Which one, maternal or paternal?
It doesn't matter. Whichever one sounds the most old-timey.
Lovis.
Lovis.
Yeah.
What's the last sweet you just ate? Like candy.
Well, it was watermelon.
Lovis Watermelon is your drag name, your drag queen name.
Okay, I guess. I mean, her name's Edie Lovis, so yeah, or Edie Lovis. Yeah, Edie Lovis Watermelon.
Edie Watermelon.
So.
Your name is Edie Watermelon? That's amazing.
Well, the other gremlin is Dorothy. Dorothy Watermelon would be not as
It would be good, but Edie Watermelon is far more amusing. Okay, great. Oh, just for the record, mine is Gwendolyn Gelt, because I had Easter coins, chocolate Easter coins.
Oh, okay.
And those I think that's stolen from Jewish culture. They have like chocolate coins.
Chocolate.
It's called Gelt. So Gwendolyn Gelt. That's me.
Yeah.
I'll wear a big golden gown. Well, that's the important part. That's the important part.
Yeah.
Okay, so
that works.
Tip of the spear.
Sorry. Okay.
Tip of the spear. Go yourself. Entrapment. Jason, do you want to do entrapment?
Yeah, let's do that.
This is a great mission, by the way. I love this mission.
Did we heart this one also or not?
We didn't heart it because the bigger version of the mission is better.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Okay. All right, entrapment mission briefing. A small force is on the march for a key position. An enemy force is moved to ambush and awaits the order to engage. An overwhelming assault is required to rout the defender entirely. Yeah, that's right. I do like this mission quite a bit.
That's cool.
Battlefield. The deployment type definitely looks like an ambush situation. The defender deploys within 4 inches of the diagonal center line. The attacker deploys on either side of them, 13 inches from the center line. There are 2 objectives on the center line, each 12 inches from the center point.
So I really like the way that they're doing these like caravan style missions, where instead of it being, your army must have some transports in it to represent the caravan or whatever. Mm-hmm. No, instead it's just a couple of objectives in the middle of the battlefield that you have to defend. Yeah. And, I guess they could, move D6 inches down the road or something every turn. I guess you could add something like that. But it's in this case, I think the abstraction is makes a little bit better of a game than the actually literally trying to have a caravan.
So I have an idea, because we've obviously chatted about this before, but have objective A, like maybe it's, if you hold it the first turn, it's worth 6 points, but the second turn it's 5, third turn 4, etc., where it has a countdown. And objective B, maybe it's has
like alternate.
Alternate. So it runs with like turn 1, it has 1, turn 2, it has 2, turn 3, etc. So that you're forced, not forced, but you're encouraged to move across the board.
Kind of like that one mission we were talking about, but a little bit. I like your way of thinking with that. Like each objective might be worth different points on different turns. That's cool.
I'm just trying to figure out some ways that they can, you can have that forward motion
without it being confusing. Yeah. You could do like 6 objectives. 2 of them could be like one color, 2 of them could be another color, and then 2 of them could be a third color. And then instead of like each individual one being worth different, it would be those groups, maybe. Just either way, I think it's a great idea. I'd love to see that. That's neat.
Sorry, the 2 of us have been sitting here thinking about we talked about the other night, and now we've been thinking about like all the other crazy things we could come up with.
Hey, we should record every episode twice.
Let's not. No, actually, and that's kind of fun. I mean, just depending on how much we've been drinking.
Yeah.
Because that last one got kind of, whatever.
I was slurring my words, but I mean, I usually slur my words by the end, but I was really slurring my words by the end of that one.
Well, I had some of those cool pop top sounds too. Those were fun. Yeah, those. Yeah. All right. Where was I? That I
2 objectives on the center line, 12 inches from the center point. Mission rules.
Okay. Rules. Recon. Line of retreat. The defender selects one short battlefield edge at the start of the deployment as their battlefield edge, and the attacker gets the other one. This only comes into play for reserves and whatnot.
Yeah, it doesn't actually have an effect on the objectives. It's just you need a battlefield edge for certain rules to apply.
That's true. Don't think about that. Think about other stuff. Okay. Objectives in their midst: progressive, 5 points for controlling one or more objectives. or controlling more than their opponent at the end of the battle round. No limitation on first battle round. No prisoner. Ooh. Each battle round, score 5 points for killing 1 or more units and 5 points for killing more than your opponent. We both like the victor bonus. Use increased supply limit or recuperate once for free. I think that's pretty sweet. I think that's
and it makes
sweet.
sense. Like you're raiding a caravan. It could have supplies. It could have medical supplies too. So that's why recuperate is an option there.
Yeah.
And recuperate's a good one. That gets rid of negative effects on your characters. That's cool.
That's very true.
I like
All right,
that.
you want to catch the next one?
So Obelisk Incursion. This one is a little boring, but not terrible. Two forces have mobilized.
I like the picture of the Vanguard guy. Yeah. He looks so
cool.
forlorn and just ready to shoot things.
Yeah. I love how they changed the arc rifles on the Skitarii Rangers to heavy.
Mm-hmm.
So you can't, you're encouraged to stand still with them, and they become even more of a kind of a backfield holding unit, where the Vanguard are more intended to go out and fight. So I like that change.
Is that are the Vanguard assault? Are those weapons now assault or? I
can't remember. I think they are. They're either assault or rapid fire. Either way, it's really good. To that there's that distinction even more than there was before. I like it. It's good when different troops choices have distinct roles as opposed to each other.
Yeah. So they're not just
my meaning.
Yeah. I think that having the Rangers
a little more of the same, a little more the same. Yeah.
Sorry, we're getting off onto other discussions. Okay.
That's fine. This is a cool picture. Two forces are mobilized. Mobilist. How do you pronounce that? Mobilist. Well, whatever. Two forces are mobilist and stepped forward to fight. Strength of arms will win the day, but only if applied with a sharpness of mind. What a bunch of words that don't mean anything. Victory points are awarded as well. So it's a Dawn of War deployment with objectives arranged like the pips on a D6, a six-sided, a 6 on a D6. 2 on your battlefield edge, or sorry, not your edge, like the line of the deployment zone, your deployment zone line. 2 on yours, 2 on your opponents, and 2 in no man's land. It's an assault mission. It looks like an assault mission. Mission critical. Each player picks 1 unit from their army to be objective secured. That's neat. I like it. Because they're and you could actually use
Sorry, that's going to be my new joke for the rest of this episode.
That's fine. It's not funny, but you get to laugh, and that's good for you. Objectives. Okay, so position secured. You scroll 5 points for control 2 or more objectives because there's 6 of them, right? Yeah. And it's a small battlefield. We're still on incursion missions. This is a small battlefield. So you control 2 objectives, control more objectives, control at least 1 in your opponent's deployment zone, and control 2 in your opponent's deployment zone. So in reality, if you all you have to do is score on your opponent's 2 objectives, and you score, you automatically get 20 points. Yeah. Because in that case, you're controlling 2. You might not be controlling more, but you at least get 15 points for doing that.
Yeah. So
it's worth it to really go after your opponent's objectives in this one. And the end game one reflects this. Score 4 VP. It's called Breakthrough. Score 4 VP for each unit in the enemy deployment zone for a max of 10 points. So they really want you in that deployment zone.
Yeah, they do. Yep.
Victor bonus. Warlord gains plus 3 XP. Sure. I guess.
That's interesting.
Well, I mean, I guess, any mission where you can default to that for most missions because you're basically saying the commander's expert ability at leading their troops won them the day. And I can see if you're pushing into your enemy's deployment zone, all of your commander's auras and stuff are going to be super important. And I guess, that's fine. Next one is Methodical Eradication.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, this is
deployment.
the one with the weird deployment zone.
Yeah. All right, so mission briefing. 2 advanced forces meet on the field of battle to claim the position and ensure no enemy escapes to relay information regarding their movements. It's kind of it's a weird diagonal hammer and anvil. The deployment line is drawn from the corner of the battlefield to the center of the long battlefield edge. It's a lot easier than some of the others, but it's hard to describe this. It looks cool. It makes sense, but describing it is just giving both of us kind of a headache.
It's like 2 triangles. It's like there's a big triangle in each like hammer and anvil side.
Yeah.
There's an objective in each triangle, and then 3 down the center line. Yeah.
I think that's the best way to do it. It definitely is measured off very precisely. How about that in the book? So let's see. Mission rules: assault. Okay,
that's it.
That's it. Objective: sweep and secure progressive. Score 5 for each at the end of your command phase. Hold 1, hold more, and hold your opponent's objective. Eradication, also progressive. Score 3 points each at the end of the battle round to kill 1 unit or kill more units. Well, that's not too bad.
So it's like a lot of killing and holding. It feels very much like a matched play mission. Maybe that's why I'm kind of like lukewarm on this one.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense now that you mention that. Victor bonus. The unit that killed the most enemy units gets plus 3 XP, same as in Run Them Down and Tip of the Spear. This seems to reward...
I feel like...
Go ahead.
I feel like this... I don't hate this one as much because even though it feels a little milquetoast, at least it doesn't claim to be something it isn't.
Right. That's very true.
And also there is like a, you're supposed to kill enemy units in order to win this game.
Mm-hmm.
Like one of the objectives is killing enemy units.
Yeah.
So in quid pro quo, it kind of makes sense that one of the victor bonus should or could be you get extra XP if you killed more units.
Yeah, definitely.
So that I feel like even though this one's a little boring, at least it lives up to the description.
Yeah, that's true. That is very true.
Yeah.
We're about to jump over to the Strike Force missions, but in the book, there's a really lovely 2-page spread of a really nice Dark Eldar Drukhari force versus mechanical, which I hadn't noticed before. I'm sorry, AdMech. And I'm looking at this Dark Eldar force, which I'm going to say that before saying Drukhari, and it looks like the Drukhari that I would mostly run. A lot of air support, a lot of jet bikes, Did I mention there's a lot of jet bikes? Because there's a lot of jet bikes that I want you to make sure you know that they are.
Jet bikes are cool, but also, you know what else is cool? Freaking hoverboards. Hoverboards are very cool.
The Hellions?
Yeah.
Yeah, those are cool.
Rule. I'll tell you what, that Metallica scheme is making me a little curious about Mechanicum. You know what I'm saying? Looks pretty cool.
Yeah, I could see that. I have my scheme, though. I'm quite happy with my scheme. They're not going to get me to move off of it. Haha. Although it does give me some ideas for other accent colors, though. So, yeah. Alrighty.
Okay, so Strike Force missions. These are going to go by super quick.
Yeah.
Super quick. Tech recovery. This one sounds slightly familiar. In fact, the mission briefing is exactly the same as ones before, but it's tech recovery. You know what this mission does. It's a Dawn of War. With these Strike Force missions, they've gone from 9 inches from the center to 12 inches from the center for most of the deployment zones. Just keep that in mind. It's a recon mission. So the objective markers in this one are just like Tech Hunt, where they're more in the middle. But there's 6 objectives. The attacker gets 1 through 3, and the defender gets 4 through 6. Whereas before there were only 4 objectives. And in this one, just like in Tech Hunt, you're looking for those objectives to keep or remove. You're going to only remove number 1 and number 6 at the end of the game. But by the end of the game, you'll have 4 revealed and 2 disappear. But each of you gets to place the one that's going to disappear, and only you will know which one it is. So I think that's really neat.
Yeah,
little mini game.
My joke of they all disappear. That would be kind of funny, actually.
That would be funny. Uncover tech, you get 5 points whenever you do the uncover tech action, and 4 points for each objective that's uncovered that you control at the end of your command phase. Very simple to understand objectives, if not somewhat difficult. So, because they're all in the middle, right? So kind of arrayed in near the center of the battlefield. So it's a little tougher. I haven't tried this one yet simply because it's Strike Force, but I think this one would be a lot of fun to play.
Oh, yeah.
With the bigger battlefield and the 6 objectives instead of just 4.
Yeah.
The Victor bonus is a weapon enhancement, just like in the previous one, which again, I think it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Now. I got the right one this time.
Oh, good. So now we're on to Ring of Steel. Still not a Johnny Cash tune, but, very, very similar to the earlier. I think the mission briefing is slightly different, maybe. The defender holds the line from an impenetrable ring of steel that none have been able to break. The attacker has planned an attack to turn the tide and throws their all in an assault to break through. Let's see. So Battlefield, long ways deployment with a deep deployment zone for the defender and a shallow deployment zone for the attacker. In fact, that's really a shallow deployment zone.
Mm-hmm.
There are 2 objective markers in each player's deployment zone and 1 in between them for a total of 5. Mission rules: assault, planned attack. The attacker pays no CP for strategic reserve, and they go first. Prepared position: the defender can upgrade a piece of terrain with an extra terrain trait or +1 save. I liked that. No,
this is good.
Yeah.
They've actually made a good attempt at differentiating between the attacker and the defender here, and I'm very fond of this. This is a good kind of generic attacker-defender style mission that you can kind of sprinkle in special rules if you want.
Yeah. I think this one's quite nice. Objectives: take and hold, progressive. Score 4 points per objective you hold in your command phase. Break the line. End the game. The 2 objectives in the defender's deployment zone are worth 5 points each. Victor bonus: the unit that killed the most units scores 3 XP.
I think that's an idiotic Victor bonus for this mission. I would prefer one similar to the one we were talking about with some of the other missions, where a unit that's holding. You know what? I would almost say for the defender, if the defender, that would be a good Victor bonus for the defender, for killing enemy units that are attacking them. But for the attacker, I would say the Victor bonus should be a unit that's holding one of the enemy's objectives.
Yeah, I think some asymmetrical Victor bonuses might make us both happier. I think that's what I'm reading on this.
I think they're trying to make sure that that the winner always does get the Victor bonus.
Yeah,
it's possible that the attacker could win without a unit being near the opponent's objectives.
That's true. Yeah, that's true.
So then you come up with alternatives for, you know what I'm saying? You could say pick a unit to get plus 1 XP or +2 XP. Make it +4 if they are within range of a unit's objective or whatever, enemy's objective, something like that.
Yeah, I think they could. I think there's some more. I don't want to say granularity, but I think there's some more they could do for those Victor bonuses. To make sure. One thing that would be interesting. Well, we'll just leave it at that. I do like.
It's a good mission, though. Yeah. I like it.
I do like the title of the next one, since we've been bringing up the Ring of Fire stuff. So I'll let you go with
it. I'm trying to remember the words of the Cure song from
Burn?
The Crow soundtrack. Yeah. Burn. Man, I should have brought it up. Anyways, imagine that
every night I burn.
Every night I burn. Yeah, that's it.
That's probably one of my favorite Cure
everybody's
tunes.
Got that.
Yeah.
Dude, that album is...
I actually have that on my phone. That's one of the... I listened to that on my drive down to the other campus the other day. Listened to the entire...
People of a certain age who have owned trench coats in their lives would have owned one or more copies of the Crow soundtrack. That's a fact.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so let it burn.
Be it an Adeptus Mechanicus Biopurge or arson and sabotage from the Emperor's enemies, the order has been given. The attacker must put this location to the flame and demolish all before them. I love this mission.
Yeah.
It's a standard Dawn of War deployment. There's 2 objectives near each other in both deployment zones, and then there's 2 in the center, but they're farther apart. So it's draws like a hexagon on the battlefield. I love how all these deployment zones look like freaking trigonometry problems. Especially that one with the triangles. I'm like, are we trying to figure out the hypotenuse of this? Because this is a lot of work.
Am I back in Mr. Bolte's class? Oh man, come on, let me out of here, please.
Yeah. I literally took trigonometry 3 times. I was in advanced AP math until I started smoking marijuana, and then I took trigonometry 3 times. It's what happens. Anyways, it's an assault mission, and then demolitions. The attacker can use an action to torch an objective not in their own DZ. The action isn't completed until their command phase. So it's a difficult one to perform. Smokescreen, an objective that's been demolished, provides -1 to hit for any unit standing within range of it.
Yeah.
That's also cool. If you blow up an objective, there's smoke.
What? Hold on. This is Phil's mission rule.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I need to play this against Phil. He's going to love this.
Oh, he'd be
his
so
Kriegers
happy.
His Kriegers are going to want to sap every objective on the battlefield. In fact, I would if he had like one of those demolition robot things.
Oh, the Cyclops?
I would say the Cyclops. I would say this just like in an earlier mission. The infantry were able to complete the action at the end of their turn instead of in the next command phase. I would definitely let the Cyclops complete it in their own turn instead of... But they would have to explode, which Phil doesn't care.
No, actually, he would be wanting... He would not take
be like,
the point.
Why would this not explode?
Blow up. Yeah, that's...
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly. I could almost see like maybe every army think of one unit type where you could do that with, like Ludas.
Yeah.
Ludas aren't supposed to be holding objectives anyways. So if you're doing that with Ludas, good for you. Or breachers, Tau breacher squads, for sure.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. Yeah, I think that would be fun. So for the objectives on this one, you have capture and burn. 5 points per objective you control at the end of the command phase. If you're about to complete the demolition action, you can remove it from the battlefield and score another 5 points. Max 20 per round.
Yep.
Which is interesting. So the attacker's 2 objectives are going to remain regardless. You're trying to blow up all the other ones.
Yeah. Okay.
Or is it is it the attacker or the defender? My bad. Attacker can use the action to torch the objectives. Yeah. So again, this is another asymmetrical one. And of course, by its very nature, I'm going to be happy about that. Mm-hmm. Demolitions endgame. If the attacker performed demolitions twice, they get 5. If they performed it 3, they get 4. If they perform 3 or 4, they get 10. If they only performed 1 or none, the defender gets 10 because they successfully defended the position.
I can
Victor
see
bonus
Phil,
is.
I can see Phil saying,
Phil,
"I don't want the points unless I've destroyed at least 3." You know, I could see him saying, "I don't want it because they didn't do their job."
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. Okay.
So interesting. Victor bonus 2 RP instead of 1. You know what I've noticed? This book, unlike the Beyond the Veil one, this book doesn't have a lot of free upgrade Victor bonuses.
No, it doesn't.
Like battle traits and stuff.
Yeah.
I feel like this one could be one of those where you could award one, but I don't know. Yeah, that's really interesting. Anyways,
all right.
Let's do the next one. I've played this one.
Pandemic Locale. Just so we're all on the same page, the baseline from Burn from The Cure has been running through my head this entire because it's one of those really, you know, driving bass lines, and now it's stuck in there.
Well, maybe if you can remember to do it, we can have it as the opening music to this episode. Yeah, I'm sure you have plenty of time in your life to edit this one twice.
Computer. Yeah, I'm not going to.
Okay.
We've been good, though. We haven't done anything too crazy.
This is the mission I played with
Tucker and
Tucker
and
against
Dave.
Kendrick and Dave. Yeah, this was fun.
All right, so Pandemic Locale, mission briefing. A rampant pandemic is on the verge of an outbreak. Your forces must locate malignant structures buried within the ground to prevent contagion or bring about its gifts. I don't know, this feels so very close to what we're dealing with in life right now. If only there was something.
Yeah, we might have picked it on purpose.
Yeah, probably. Good idea. Good choice. Let's see. Battlefield diagonal, 12 inches from the center line. Mission rules. Assault, of course. Objectives. The attacker gets 1 and 2, while the defender gets 3 and 4. Pandemic Locale. At the start of turn 2, the attacker decides to remove either odd or even objectives, and then in turn 3, the defender removes 1. So that's kind of cool.
So there's only 1 left at the end of the game by the end of turn 3.
Yeah, that would have been good. Like if you had come in at turn 3, because you might have been able to like do that a little bit better.
I really should have come in on turn 3. It was terrible. I don't know why I didn't do that. So this one's really cool. I like the variable victory points. This is fun, but I think the next size up, the onslaught version of this is actually it's a little bit better because there's more objectives. Yeah.
Okay, so objectives in here. Pandemic Locale, progressive. Score for holding objectives at the end of the battle round. Objectives worth 5 in turn 1, 10 in turn 2, 20 in turn 3, and 15 in turns 4 and 5. See, that's I like that changing worth. I think that works really well. Victor bonus. Use increased supply limit and recuperate for free. That's pretty cool. Or once each if you're holding free,
I guess it's a pandemic locale. It would make sense that you get more supplies and you get medical supplies as well.
Mm-hmm. That is pretty cool. I like that. Oh,
extermination sweep. One. This one has a very interesting, complicated battlefield. Let's see if the battlefield is a site of former conflict littered with the detritus of war. Two fresh forces meet to pick it clean, reclaim the position, and exterminate the foe.
Yeah.
So it's a very complicated battlefield. Deployment zones are like these.
That explains. Yeah. Okay. Sorry.
There's 2 L shapes. The deployment zones are 2 big L shapes, and the no man's land is enormous. It's you start 24 inches from each other, which is a lot in this new. Well, I guess no, it's about the same. 16 plus 8 is 24. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but it looks like a lot.
Well, because
it
increases.
There's big chunks taken. Yeah, there's big chunks taken out of these deployment zones.
Because there's in some locations There's one area that's 32 inches across from the deployment because the way it breaks in.
Because thank you. Yeah, you're right. Only like 2 small smidges of it are close to the enemy deployment zone.
Yeah.
So there's 4 objectives placed in that big no man's land, and 1 in each of the deployment zones on like your far left side. So if you're player B, it's on your left side. If you're player A, it's on your left side. For a total of 6 objectives. It's a recon mission. Sweep and clear. This is one where you retain control of an objective, but you have to perform an action to do it. So, it's, if you have a unit that's kind of lagging behind, like a Rhino or something, might as well just do it with them.
Yeah.
Outriders, fast attack are objective secured. If they already have objective secured, they count as double the models.
Nice.
So all of the Death Skulls buggies not buggies. All the Death Skulls, like, I don't know.
Bikes.
But no, because only infantry are objective secured. What about Storm Boys? 10 Storm Boys counts as 20 models in this mission. So objectives are sweep and secure. Score 6 points each for controlling 1, 2, and more. So very simple objectives.
Yeah.
For this one, it's just a big, complicated battlefield with some weird rules. So they kept the objectives simple, which, you know what? Good on you. That's fine. The victor bonus is 2 marked for greatness. Very generic, but that's okay. I would like to see another objective, but I think if it's a good generic one that you can add your own additional objective to it, I think.
See, it kind of reminds me a little bit of like the tech hunt, groups, because you're trying to secure these objectives, and it's almost as though you're, reclaiming stuff. Well, actually, you are. Your 2 fresh forces meet to pick it clean. So, might be able to overlay some rules from Tech Hunt over this.
Right. Like collecting stuff from the objectives. That would be good. I'd like to see that.
All right.
Next,
strike for supplies. I'm going to do this again. We talked more about vignettes last time, but there's a really cute little poem in here. And I'll go through and pronounce it a little bit better this time. So, fiddledy, fulg, and gloppity splot, see the seeds grow filth and rot. Gleeful shambling in the meadows so brown, the traveller's donned his reapsman's crown. Now come slopsome, clotling, and blight, and see the most repugnant sight. Malefic voice signal corruption recorded during the battle for Fathom. I like these little, vignettes, these little short things. It's kind of cute.
Some of them are better than the mission that they're on.
Hold on. This mission's okay, right? This is
a good
angry.
One.
Okay.
No, this is a good one. I like
this one. So strike for supplies. As major conflicts are fought on the front line, opportunistic raiders strike in an undefended position to loot supplies and claim material. I should probably wear my glasses when I'm reading that. Okay. Battlefield, dawn of war, 12 inches from the center. Mission rules. Objective markers. There are 6 placed all over, but before attacker / defender is determined, which is a little odd, but it happens. Might as well just say that before picking supplies. Before picking sides. So you place your objectives and then you pick your side, which that's kind of interesting. We have the loot mission rule, which we both liked, exactly like Raid for Supplies, the Combat Patrol mission. Objectives, strike for supplies, so 5 VP per loot action. Remember, you can loot 3 times per objective. Which if you can get in there and get that. Victor bonus, use a requisition before the next battle for free, same as in Raid for Supplies. So basically it's just an upscaled Raid for Supplies.
It really is. Yeah. But I really like it.
Yeah.
I want to play this next if I can. Next we have all right. Now we're going to move into onslaught missions. This one's going to go real fast.
Yeah,
because almost all of them are duplicates. But
except for this
my favorite one is the first one, and it is Choke Point. We've seen missions like this before, okay, but it's like the 9th edition version of this mission.
I like this mission a lot too. I just want to make sure that that is everyone knows that, because the more I look at, the more it's like, this looks like fun. All right, good.
This does look like fun.
Yeah.
2 forces meet at a key crossing. Whoever holds it can maneuver.
English spelling.
Maneuver their forces into key locations to win the war. Only the most resolute will shrug off enemy fire, push through the choke point, and claim the position. So the battlefield is basically 2 big, like 30 by 45 battlefields in and of themselves. And those are the deployment zones. And in the middle, you have a 24 by I guess the width of the table, so 45, a 24 by 45 rectangle in the middle, where only the very center of it, a little strip, is passable. 18 inches wide, right, and 24 inches long. On either side of that is an impassable pit or something. You could be underground, and this could just be a choke point underground, in a cavern, on a spaceship, on a space station, like a crypt, a valley, or it could be a bridge, which would be the most common understanding of what it would be. But it could also be a bridge. There's nothing stopping you from putting terrain on that no man's land either.
Right.
Which might make it a little bit more interesting. Although it might make it harder. I would be interested to ask the designers what they thought if they played this, and see if adding terrain there would be helpful. You could also maybe put a little bit of terrain features in that impassable area. You could either say you can't even shoot across it.
Yeah.
Or you could put just some stuff sticking up out of the ground. Ooh, this could also be on the top of 2 skyscrapers.
Oh, yeah.
And it's connected with a bridge. That would be cool.
Yeah, that would be cool. Yeah, I kept thinking underground and whatnot, but that's something that would be really cool. That could work.
Yeah. So this is 2. So, anyways, each deployment zone has 3 objectives. 2 of those 3 objectives are on the far edge, near the far edge of their deployment zone, and there's one a lot closer, more near the bridge.
Yeah.
The ones that are far away are the alpha objective markers, kind of for later for scoring. You score more if you hold your opponent's far objective markers, basically. And there's one also on the bridge itself. So there's 7 objective markers. It's an assault mission. The choke point, the impassable areas can be flown over. But again, you could come up with alternative mission scenario rules. If you are doing this in a cavern underground, maybe they can't be flown over. Maybe they can't be shot through. That would really make that bridge a kill zone, brutal.
Yeah.
And since that area across the bridge, in the impassable area, is 24 inches, I think it's really only aircraft that are going to be able to make it over that. Maybe some Drukhari vehicles, but not many. Not much else can make it across that gap.
Definitely.
So our mission objectives are take and hold, progressive. 5 points for controlling 2 or more, controlling one of your opponent's alpha objectives, or just controlling more. Breakthrough endgame, 5 points for each objective marker that isn't one of their own alpha markers, and 5 points if they hold any of their opponent's alpha objective markers. So again, it's
Yeah.
You're taking territory, and the
Yeah.
more territory you take, it's very simple. The victor bonus is kind of butt. There's 2 marked for greatness. There is something to be said for leaving it up to the players as to which unit gets that marked for greatness. So always pick the most narrative choice, or always have your opponent pick like we do. We always have our opponent pick.
Yeah. The thing is that marked for greatness is kind of a nice XP bonus, or nice experience bonus, but I don't know. There could be others. All right.
There could be.
Next up.
I almost like the idea of putting a building on that choke point.
Yeah. There's so many cool things that, we're just sitting here babbling about it, and we're both coming up with some really cool ideas. As I was thinking about it yesterday, all I could think about were dark elves from, Dungeons and Dragons, where they would be in Canyon system, and then Drukhari came to mind, and it's like, but Drukhari aren't dark elves, they're just Eldar.
But this could be the webway.
Yeah, this could be the webway.
Right, not only could this be the webway, right?
Yeah.
But that choke point in the middle, that could actually be a webway pathway.
Oh, like
and
a portal.
It's only a short distance because it's a web. These 2 locations, these 2 deployment zones, could be
in different
billions
worlds.
Of miles away. Could be totally different worlds, and you could actually set up totally different terrain on each of these each of these deployment zones, and the center is just the webway portal.
See, this is what happens when you just let the 2 of us sit here and BS back and forth.
I really want to play that mission. That's freaking cool. That's a cool idea, I think.
Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, let's go on to a mission that you might have seen before. A Bolus Onslaught. 2 large forces have mobilized and stepped forward to fight. Strength of arms will win the day, but only if applied with the sharpness of mind.
Hey, we've heard that before.
This is Obelisk Incursion. Battlefield, let's see. Huge Dawn of War layout, which, it's, what are we now, Onslaught? So yeah, it better be big. Very similar to the Bolus Incursion mission, just with more objectives. 9 objective markers arranged in a checkerboard, 3 in each deployment zone, and 3 down the middle. Rest of the mission's identical to Bolus Incursion, scoring big for holding 2 of your opponent's objectives throughout the game, and holding their deployment zone at the end of the game. Boom. Done. Next is better. It's Fallout. It's just like the Fallout zone from before, except the zone itself is bigger. The circle is 24 inches wide, and there are 2 more objectives in play for a total of 7 objectives. Yeah.
I think having the bigger Fallout zone will make this a little more fun.
Yeah.
In fact, I could almost see myself doing a Strike Force, like a 2,000 point or 100 power level Strike Force version of this, where the Fallout zone is 24 inches in diameter.
Yeah.
I think that would be neat. Then we have
Encirclement. Oh, this is the other one that we liked from before. Mission briefing. A large force, well, it's modified a little bit, but a large force is on the march to a key position. An enemy force is moved to ambush and awaits the order to engage. An overwhelming assault is required to rout the defender entirely. Mission's almost identical to entrapment scenario from the incursion section, with a few minor tweaks. Still diagonal deployment with the attacker on either side of the defender who holds objectives. In this one, there are 4 objectives, but still hold 1, hold more, and kill 1, kill more. All scored at the end of the battle round. You can go back to what we said before about changing the numbers on that to maybe simulate movement. Victor bonus, 2 requisition points instead of 1, and also use the repair and recuperate for free. So that's cool. Not too bad.
I like that a lot. These big missions probably should have a little bit more lucrative on the Victor bonus, and I was wrong. There are 5 objectives, not 4. My bad.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I didn't see that. Yeah. Oh, we're almost done. Okay.
All right. Tech. We're about to have a tech seizure. This is almost identical to Tech Relic.
Yeah.
Except there are 5 objectives, and you score VP for performing the uncover tech action instead of it being an all or nothing hold the relic type thing. So you're going to score for performing the action to find it, and then holding the relic is 28 VP. There's no VP for holding other objectives at the end of the game. So if you don't end up finding the relic, all you're getting VP for is performing the action. You're getting VP for trying. So I think that's an interesting point. So there could be right. You're picking up what I'm putting down. Like you could say, oh, I'll just let my opponent reveal it and then I'll go for it with my entire force, right? Yeah. No, if you don't find the relic, your opponent's going to win just because they went in there and risked it by going in and uncovering objectives.
Yeah. I think that's I like that because otherwise it could turn into a castling situation where you wait till into the turn 4 or when we finally find the relic, then just like an all. Yeah, I prefer this. I like this.
Yep. And also what's really cool about this one is you not only do you get a weapon enhancement, but you get a Crusade relic as well.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Yeah, it is. I really do like this one. I like that victory bonus.
Yeah, that's cool as hell. I could see that being a reward for like a Strike Force game if you wanted to do that too.
And it's not just
all right, Jason.
All right. Last thing. We did talk about this before, that this seems like it would be the tech seizure might actually be like the end of a campaign.
Oh yeah, that's the goal of the campaign. Finding that one Crusade relic could be the goal of your entire campaign. You could say you can get Crusade relics just from requisitions and stuff, or from leveling up and whatever, but it would be cool if you said, I am going to look for this relic.
Right.
And I will not actually buy this relic with my Crusade force or my accumulation of points. Instead, I'm only going to take it if I win this mission.
Yeah. Yeah. I think that'd be cool. Really, really, cool narrative for your Crusade force.
Or you guys could come up with your own unique homebrew relic for that.
All right. Victor, let's see. That was okay. Pandemic outbreak. Let's go ahead and get that one. A rampant pandemic is on the verge of an outbreak. Your forces must locate malignant structures buried within the ground to prevent contagion or bring about its gifts. Exact same mission briefing of Pandemic Locale. Basically, it's a straight-up upscale of Pandemic Locale. This features 3 objectives each, labeled Alpha, Beta, and Gamma. Ooh, Gamma. Instead of 2 each. In turn 2, the attacker removes 1 category. Then in turn 3, the defender removes a category. Then in turn 4, the attacker removes the last one. So scoring is 3 points per objective is in turn 1, 4 in turn 2, 9 in turn 3, 18 in turn 4, and 20 in turn 5. Wow. That is pretty cool. I kind of like that feature, those objectives, how they keep changing on you.
And I think it lets you gamble. You could say, well, I'm not going to commit my whole force in the beginning of the game. I'm going to hold back and hold some easy objectives to start and then strike later when the objectives are worth more. There's a lot of that in Age of Sigmar, and it's really good. It's a good way to do scoring. With the scores being worth more as it goes on. I like this Crusade mission pack. I like the fact that I still have the Beyond the Veil mission pack that I can use because I like a lot of the missions in there too.
Yeah.
So it's not like you lose anything for having Plague Purge. You get more, and they're a little bit different. They're more balanced missions, which you you could say is good and bad.
Yeah.
But again, I still have the Beyond the Veil mission pack, which I like. So if I want a more asymmetrical mission, I can open up Beyond the Veil. If I want a more balanced mission for somebody who might be only used to matched play and they're just getting into Crusade, I would open up Plague Purge instead.
That's very true. The thing is that this is the beginning of 9th edition, so these books are going to be around for a bit. We can use them, for a couple of years easily.
Everybody always says they love battle missions, right? The old battle missions book. That's what these are.
Book.
Except we're getting new one every year. So frick yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Love it.
Love it.
Yeah.
Well, thanks Games Workshop once again for providing us with some materials. We're happy to review them, even though sometimes we say parts of them are hot street garbage trash that's on fire. And that's also fine because most of it is actually really, really great and I love it. So that's okay.
And they heard us fanboy over a couple of those missions, so there won't be hopefully
I drew hearts on them.
I know. I was so happy that you did that.
Yeah. So we're going to take a quick break and come back and close out the show.
Hey Archons, does 9th edition have you feeling like the Slith Party Bus just doesn't have enough party for you? Well, if you want to put a little shock back into your shock brow, you need the Slith Party On! That's right, Archons. For 736 points, you can take 3 Archons, 12 Slith, and a Tantalus. It's the Slith Party On! Now, I know what you're thinking. Couldn't I take Drazar, 15 Incubi, and a Tantalus, a.k.a. the Incubi Murder Boat, for 51 less points? Sure, you could, but it wouldn't be the Slith Party On! But is it legal? Oh, yeah! Is it awesome? Oh, yeah! Is it any good on the table? No! It's the all-new Slith Party On. Sort of awesome. Party On! Really hilarious. Party On! It's the Slith Party On!
Oh, we've reached level 6. Slith Party On! Next episode is going to be on Deacon of Wounds, so get out your books and read them.
Mm-hmm.
That is if David and Jason are available to talk about it. Like you might not even be able to finish reading it, right? So I would almost expect it to be the end of the month episode instead of the middle of the month episode, but we'll see. I really need to get in and do more. I need to do more games for the Altar of War episodes. I haven't done any this year yet.
Well, yeah,
I was kind of waiting for the pandemic to slow down and do some of these in person.
Yeah.
I might be able to do it with Kendrick. Kendrick might be interested. He wants to do like a city fight campaign.
Ooh.
Using the rules from last edition, the cool city fight rules. So I think it would be neat to set up a big city in my garage and play him in a few of those missions. And I think that would be a fun ongoing campaign thing to do. I could talk to him about that.
Yeah.
I know it's a big time investment to do the Altar of War missions.
Mm-hmm.
Episodes, because it's not just playing the game, but it's also recording
chatting
every
about
turn
them.
And chatting about it. So I'll have to talk to him about that. I'm sure I'll get one in soon for folks.
Mm-hmm.
No one's ever really sent me any feedback on those, so I'm wondering if nobody likes them, in which case I should stop doing them.
I listen to them, but
right.
That's because, Masters of the Forge. But I don't know.
I should ask Terrace how many downloads they get. like, do we get a lot of downloads for those shows?
Yeah. Or do they?
But anyways,
have they written hate mail to him about us or about Altar of War? Yeah.
Yeah. So next episode is either going to be about Deacon of Wounds by David Annandale, or it'll be a topic that I come up with a couple of days before we record and we scramble to make show notes on. But until then,
play the game the way you want to.
Wait. Hey, Jason, is it too late to tell you that I think I recorded on my headphones the entire time with the headphone thingy up?
You.
I'm just joking.
We'd love it if you could give us a positive rating and review on iTunes.
If you'd like to keep in contact with us, you can follow us on Facebook or Twitter by searching for Masters of the Forge. And you can follow our hobby progress on Instagram with the hashtag Masters of the Forge.
You can also contact us at mastersoftheforge@gmail.com if you have any questions, topic suggestions, or if you'd like to advertise your creative hobby endeavor. Thanks again for listening.
This podcast is protected by the Creative Commons Attribution, No Derivatives, Non-Commercial International License. More information about this license and contact information if you have any requests can be found at our blog, mastersoftheforge.com.
It's such a good feeling to play games your way. It's such a happy feeling 40K'ing away. And when you throw dice with story in mind, it's such a wonderful way to unwind. It's a good feeling, a very good feeling, the feeling you know that we'll be back when the fortnight's new, and we'll have new ideas for you, and you'll have things you'll want to talk about. We will too.